Acknowledge, Sportswire Radio here once again on a Friday night as we get you ready for the fallout from what we just saw on SmackDown. Maybe talk a little bit about Sting and what you saw in his final match, or is it his final match, and anything else to get you ready to the road to WrestleMania with two of my guys, the host of the Be More Talkative podcast, the one and only TBK, who actually did shell out those $50 to watch that pay-per-view, and he's got his Sting hat on, rocking Sting like it's forever going to be 1990. The man that probably watched Sting win that World Heavyweight Championship in Baltimore back in 1990 over the Nature Boy Ric Flair, of course, a two-time Hall of Famer, a BWA Hall of Famer, a Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer, a man that has done it all and apparently has some merchandise that yours truly is probably going to be buying later this weekend. We are talking about our coach. Some would say he's the only Craven, but we call him Chris Craven because there is another Craven out there that is certainly on the warpath. We're going to but
Yeah.
happy Friday. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Two of Baltimore's finest. Yes, that's the Sting plushie there, right? That's the plush figure they call it. Now, did you get that one, Coach? I'm assuming you got that recently, or you had that for a couple of decades.
This year.
Getting ready for Sting, obviously, get all those collectibles and mementos possible. But while you figure out what Sting collection you've got most recently to show us live, let's obviously recap what we saw, what went down on SmackDown, where it got a little bit physical and it looked like the slaps were exchanged, and maybe we see it get a little more personal between the Samoan dynasty and certainly The Rock and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes and the Baltimore Kid. Let's go with you. And how did you like things ended the way it went on SmackDown? And anything else before we turn it over to, of course, our coach, Chris Craven?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So to me, I think WWE kind of dropped the ball there, just like AEW did with Sting's retirement speech. They cut it short. They, if you want to see what else happened, you had to go online and check out the rest of what he said. Why? I know the network has time constraints, but why would you cut off the most exciting part of the show? The show,
yeah, it did cut off. We were waiting for something. It was like,
right.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest. This show was a little bit of a stinker. It wasn't too exciting, but I don't expect it to be because, like I said, we're definitely on the slow burn trail, and we have been for a while. But right when Cody finally delivers a slap, it looks like The Rock is going to say something else. Boom, they cut it off, and I'm like, oh no, come on.
Took the glasses off. He stood up, and then it was bye.
Right. I mean, come on, man. You said it. You're a member of the board. You're the boss. You could ask for 2 more minutes.
Maybe if The Rock didn't take such a long fucking entrance,
Oh, there's that.
You could have walked out with Roman, bought him 5 minutes.
Nah, that's not going to happen, man.
Well, The Rock did say, speaking of that, The Rock did say that, he's a part of the the family now, and he acknowledges Roman, it seems. I mean, so you got that. That's a good thing, right? I guess.
I mean, if you've watched the Fast and the Furious for any amount of years, I
actually did see the last one that was in the theaters. I actually did see it.
Well, then you would appreciate that Dwayne is basically turning into Dominic Toretto because it's all about the family.
I mean, I would say he does make Dominic Toretto look rather like how can I put it for our Maryland wrestling fans? Chase Wakefield, who the Bitcoin billionaire, some would call him in the Maryland wrestling scene the string bean. That's what kind of The Rock these days makes what Mr. Diesel or Mr. Toretto looks like. But yeah,
I thought you were going to reference the fact that he's getting used to playing a supporting character.
Well, we could bring that up. I mean, we certainly could because it did seem like that The Rock is playing a supporting character, and he seems to be all about that. And we talked about the fact that the bloodline wasn't going to lose. at night one. And, Coach, obviously always good to see you. I know a lot of people want to talk, and we're going to talk for the first hour of the show here before we bring on kind of a mix of people. Maybe we're trying to boost the ratings up in the second hour because we've got some new people, some old people, and who knows what else will be in between. But in the meantime, Coach, what did you maybe think of the segment between The Rock, Roman Reigns, and the cross-dresser Seth Rollins? That was a good line. I thought the cross-dresser Seth Rollins was a good line.
Okay, so
That was good.
I like the way that Seth and Cody came out. I like that they did it a little different, kind of remnants to the Shield, walking through the audience like that.
I was waiting for Roman to mention something about the Shield.
And
that moment.
Then you had The Rock take over pretty much the whole time on the microphone with his constant repetitive statements and his long-winded
diatribes, they would call them.
His long-winded, get to the fucking point already.
Like a Craven Rage promo for you, kind of when Craven Rage comes on Sportswire.
I'm like, if you say The Rock says, or let me tell you this for the 18th time in a row before fucking getting to the fucking point, I'm gonna throw something at the TV. Like, it's getting maybe that was fine in the 90s, but get to the fucking point.
I was gonna say maybe somebody has WWF the Music Volume 3 and they could put The Rock says, and that kind of the nation music there. But so you were not a fan of this segment then, Coach, huh? Not at all, huh?
I like I said, I like the way they displayed Cody and Seth, letting them come out like the way they did. I like the fact that Seth got up in The Rock's face the way he did.
I like that. Yeah, he talked about his time.
That was bold for Seth.
I tell you what I liked. That it was their generation versus his generation. Basically, Cody and Seth, it's their time now. The Rock had his time.
Right.
And I thought that was a good contrast, which left, again, Roman in this awkward place. But Cody,
even though the slap was technically given in return,
yeah,
I wanted it to be more of an impact.
Well, if we ended the show and there was something to bounce off that, would you have felt differently in the way that the show ended?
Maybe like a stare down, something like that. Like I think we're lucky we even got the slap because the logo came up right before he actually hit him, and I was like, if we have to find out that he slapped him off air, oh man, that would have been terrible.
Well, Coach, you know this because you've obviously competed. I'm sure that there was something after the cameras stopped. I mean, I'm sure that they probably to 10:23. Maybe they just left the ring now, the four of them.
Maybe. I would say that definitely something, either more words or maybe a scuffle and all that security jumped in, split them up.
I think TBK though made a good point though. We've got at least 4 more SmackDowns. They're not gonna do a scuffle because after tonight it's the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, and the 5th. So they're not gonna do a scuffle tonight.
Rumor has it, and this is something I don't know if it's a rumor, if it was actually like made accurate, like it's a real thing that's happening, was both The Rock, Roman, Cody, and Seth are scheduled to be on the next several SmackDowns in a row. I don't know how many.
Well, he said The Rock's on for the next 3, so he's got 2 more after tonight.
And Cody, Cody is parallel with that same schedule for SmackDown. And
that makes sense. Well, that makes sense because they're going to have the tag match now. So obviously that makes sense in addition to the singles.
So you're going to – I doubt that – so the segment kind of shit the bed. There were some good elements. It shit the bed. But given the fact that if the schedule holds true, you could see more interactions between the 4 or Rock and Cody or a mixture, which – like you said, TBK, they're doing this on a slow burn. So it's like we're only going to give, if we've got one cookie to give the audience, we're going to give them a crumb at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me go with this. I know a lot of people want to say hi, and I want to get to some people. But for both of yous, what would you have wanted to have made it, let's say, a more desirable ending?
A brawl. Let it go into a brawl. Like, straight up just lose it, out of control, aggressive.
Yeah, I would have been. I mean, I could have seen something like that, especially with the fact that they had once again they had Jimmy and Solo accompany them to the ring. They definitely could have had the bloodline jump Cody and Seth, and I think it would have fit in with the bloodlines MO, I guess you could say, and just staying par for the course on what they would usually do. I don't think it would have been out of left field to have that happen at all. Like I said, I'm just glad that we got the slap in general, because it was looking real close that they were going to cut the show off right at arguably probably the best part of the show.
Fair point. And I did think it was a good touch to see Cody come out from the stand. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
All right, let me say hello to some people before we move on here. Oops, there we go. No, wrong one here. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. D'Angelo the Flame. Of course, he is the Resurrection Wrestling Internet Champion, who I know I owe an appearance to Sportswire Radio too. So hopefully we'll get you on before the 17th, if not right after the 17th, because I think we're free on the 20th. So I would say keep your calendar open that day. But good to see you, D'Angelo. This person, somebody might know. I mean, I don't know, maybe a wrestling fan.
It's Heather. I mean,
Sid. It's Sid.
I'm still wondering if Sid's going into the Hall of Fame. That's a different topic for a different time.
I gotta ask, does she like the new desk?
She does. She likes it a lot.
Courtesy of
I like it too.
Oh, so do I know something or not know something here, that there was a new desk provided for someone here?
No. I bought the desk and he put it together.
I built this desk.
Oh, wow. So you guys have spent more than, you guys have been spending more time with each other then.
Yeah, man. Went over there, hung out, had some Subway, built the desk, and joked around the rest of the day.
All right. So what I want to know is, what did you guys have for Subway? What was the Subway sandwich you had? Did you have a foot long?
Roast beef on Italian.
Okay.
I had two. So, well, I saved one for later, but one was a Philly Monster or something like that. It's called. It's like a cheesesteak thing,
okay.
And the other was avocado, bacon, ranch, and chicken.
Oh, okay. You know what? That sounds definitely like Subway Eat Fresh, and I can appreciate the Italian bread because I always like.
Yeah, not as
oh wow, okay. Well, you know what? I don't even know if I could go through one, but God bless. And I always appreciate the Italian bread because my neck of the woods in Brooklyn growing up was kind of the epicenter for Italian bread. So great stuff there. So we'll certainly move away from the Italian bread. I haven't had Italian bread in a while, but my buddy Ethan Sorensen is always here though, and I'm doing great. I'm here with you in the People's House where all wrestling matters, and we're talking the first half of the show, wrestling. It seems like a lot of people judging based on my YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch are tuned in. And I have actually a feeling for a change. The second part of the show actually might have just as many viewers. And also, I have something else that I might want to talk to these guys about before the other guys might change on here. Also, Diarrhea head Wayne. Okay, diarrhea Dwayne. Okay, diarrhea Dwayne. Clearly I need to get my eyes checked. Clearly it must be the Craven Rage mask I'm wearing. I'm only kidding. But the diarrhea Dwayne. You know what? He did come across a little bit of a diatrabic. Want to say hello to our most recent member of the. Want to say hello to our most recent member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame from the friendly confines in beautiful rural Alabama, Mr. Hillbilly Tilly, the Alliance Wrestling League general manager and 15-year backyard wrestling standout, the man that was certainly responsible in helping mold the careers of the likes of CJ Black, the good guy, ADT, and so many others. And he's here, a big sports fan. Also says, evening and what's up, D'Angelo. I love Hillbilly Tilly, one of the nicest people that I've met in backyard wrestling. Just a nice man. Certainly was up, Tilly. Yep, was up, and thank you. Okay, good question from Ethan. Actually, Ethan's got a great question. I'm going to bring it up here. By the way, D'Angelo's birthday is on the 20th, so that means happy birthday, D'Angelo. You're coming to Sportswire Radio on your birthday, so there you go. Wishes do come true on Sportswire. We'll figure out the time. Long as it's in the evening, right? We can do it in the evening, D'Angelo. I'm all yours. I can do it 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, your time, which would be 10 o'clock my time, Apple. So let's do it. Let's book it, and we'll talk Resurrection. But before I get to that, I have a question for you guys. What did you think about KSI showing up on SmackDown with Logan Paul and the Prime logo on the ring mat? I was waiting for somebody to bring this up, and what did you guys think about that?
I think KSI took a bullet for Paul. Or was definitely gonna get his payback from that knuck shot. But interesting that he showed up, that he was there. But like I said, I think he took a bullet for Logan. Speaking of kind of makes you feel like the other Paul brother's going to take a bullet from Tyson.
I was so glad that somebody was going to talk about that, because I actually had a feeling that I was going to talk a lot about that tonight. So funny you say that. So I guess we'll come back to that. But Mr. Baltimore,
well, I'm sorry. Wait, you don't have Randy here to talk about all the other factors. He's out. Like you don't even have a guy holding the belt talking.
Well, Randy could be our Logan Paul, I suppose.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Look,
well, you got a belt, and you held belts before. You were actually you were booked to win a bunch of props before. You held some props before.
I'll be Randy for the night. Well, you guys, hockey's awesome. Oh, sorry.
Randy's a Hall of Famer too. He's actually in the Hall of Fame.
I'm just messing with him. I hope he sees this and gets a laugh.
No, Randy. We love Randy on Sportswire. Randy, I want to say real quick. I mean, I know Rob Maraska is our longest analyst on Sportswire, longest tenured, but Randy, I think, has become just overall maybe the most well-rounded of the analysts that we have. He can talk sports. He can talk wrestling. He's just a good man. But enough about Randy. Let's talk about KSI, Mr. Baltimore Kid. And what did you think of that?
I mean, it's cool for what it is. I'm a little over the whole YouTuber thing being the new celebrity appearance on WWE. I get it. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and try to take anything away from those two guys. They have definitely proved their worth and built their careers and built their little empires, I guess you could say. Prime is definitely everywhere you could think of. It's in every grocery store, freaking GMC or whatever, you could think of. So good for them. I'm and again, you can't take anything away from Logan Paul's actual in-ring talent, as much as it kills me to say. The guy has gotten the official rub from guys like Sean and Paul Levesque, and we talked about that before.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, it's cool for what it is, and to have your logo in the middle of a WWE ring, something that's never happened before. Good for him. He must be doing something.
I was going to ask you guys about that, because in sports we see like sponsored like emblems, or let's say brands are on basketball jerseys, and certainly now baseball jerseys. Do you think that's kind of coming to wrestling more now? We'll see sponsors on the ring, kind of similar to what we see in boxing, where you see Corona, you might see Budweiser or some type of beverage. How do you guys feel about that? In terms of brands maybe advertised on the mats.
Back in the day in WCW, they used to do that shit almost every pay-per-view. It would be Slim Jim or something in the corner, like in each corner underneath the turnbuckle pad or something like that. They used to do that all the time, but I guess
hasn't been done in a long time since, though, is my point.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of made a joke to my buddy Louie earlier, because he was like, what the hell? And I was like, they're going to Netflix. They need to get some sort of sponsorship. They're losing their commercial breaks. You got to make that money somehow.
To me, it feels like a very, I don't know. If I say this, maybe you'll understand. It feels like a very TKO type of move, because you see sponsorship littered all over UFC rings. So maybe they're just kind of like, hey, let's give this a shot. And Logan's forever with the Prime in the back pocket, so they're like, you know what, we'll give it a shot and see what the fans think. But I mean, like I said, you see logos all over the Titantron and on the sides, on the barriers and all that stuff. If it doesn't get too gimmicky and it's for a purpose, then yeah, cool. But if they're starting to do it like every other, I don't know. It's cool for now.
Well, I think we all know why they're doing it, though.
Yes. Well, I mean, again, Prime is everywhere you look. So again, and you can't take away the fact that Logan Paul has definitely made an impact. Love him or hate him, it is what it is. So if they're capitalizing off of that, then it's just WWE being WWE and, making a profit off of a hot guy right now.
And the coach also,
I don't misquote me. I don't mean a hot guy. I mean a guy.
I mean, you never know. Pretty soon you may see AJ and McIntyre start like sponsoring maxi pads and shit, or Midol, with pitchiness that they do every week, But
well, I mean, if you follow
product
social media, there's been a whole bunch of talk about Bianca Belair and being on 2K24, and there was talk last week about Maxine Dupree, and so maybe there is different things that people might need, I guess, because of the sensitivity out there. But obviously, not to go in too much in the weeds, and obviously we love what everybody does in the ring. But I guess at the end of the day, it's a business. And WWE is essentially, to me, like one of the major sports, and like certainly UFC. And if they're going to use their ring and their mat to advertise logos for sponsors, as I think the coach had brought up, that they are going to Netflix, and that's certainly going to lose, we would think, a live commercial consumption standpoint where I'm sure that they would generate revenue, that they may make up for it in ways such as, I don't know, logos being on rings or mats, maybe even guys that wear, let's say, merchandise, or maybe their own, I guess, ring gear. Maybe they're going to have, let's say, different brands.
Give it 6 months. Every person on the roster is going to have 3 sponsors down the side of their tights.
You know what? In the NBA, listen, in the NBA, they've got the little patches on their jerseys. The NFL's got it. I mean, baseball's
like
got
it. Brock Lesnar, for the longest time since he came back in, what was that, 2010 or 2011, whenever he first originally came back from the USC, he was sporting Jimmy John's on his trunks.
I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, but can you guys really imagine, though, like a couple years down the line, seeing Netflix in the middle of a WWE ring? I mean, at that point, be proud of your sponsor, but it's like,
It's about money. It's about, listen, at the end of the day, they're a business, and WWE is, I was listening to Eric Bischoff talk about this on his podcast. WWE is, transformed themselves into an entity for a business standpoint that, far exceeds even what you see. And his point was that he didn't think wrestling was hot right now. He thought WWE was hot right now, but he thought like independent wrestling, he thought that wrestling outside of WWE wasn't as hot, really. I mean, I don't know if that's a wild take. I don't know if that's a take. I guess his take was that the business as a whole, independent wrestling and wrestling underneath WWE hasn't really moved much in terms of interest, but WWE has become this global juggernaut, basically. I think that's what his talk was. And that makes you yawn, Coach, because in our Eric Bischoff's podcast must make you feel pretty boring. Maybe as boring as a Craven Rage promo for you?
That's nap time.
How long would the nap be for you in a Craven Rage promo?
Let's say, for example, if his promo is 11 minutes, 58 seconds long.
Well, he was here almost 2 hours on Sportswire, last week.
I'm gonna maybe another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because all the lag in between. Kind of like The Rock. He takes him forever to get to his point. It's a promo. It's not a Joe Biden speech. Come on.
Well, I'm going to plead the fifth on Joe Biden because I certainly have my opinions on that. And some people might agree with me on that. Others may not. I don't know. But I am going to get to a comment here from one of our fans.
Maybe they could start sponsoring Hooked on Phonics or Rosetta Stone. Maybe that'll help some of these promos move it along a little quicker.
Well, if we're really going to get an opinion on Sportswire, there's plenty of people that come on here that could probably use that sponsorship.
Yeah.
I want to see the Backyard Nightmare T-shirt sponsored by Rosetta Stone.
Well, you know what? I'm sure WC would love that for their business.
And Prime.
WWE received the Red Diamond Award from YouTube as well. 100 million subscribers. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Yay.
I mean, to piggyback off Eric Bischoff, I think WWE has always been a global juggernaut. I think to make that comment is just pointing out the obvious. Now more than ever, I will say that the attention to the product is off the charts. I mean, WWE has always been WWE. They will always be WWE. There was never any worry or concern about that. I just think now, more so than ever, more people are actually tuning in and paying attention.
But you know what I think?
They had to get all that.
God.
They had to get all off the negativity of Vince McMahon.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to say it. Come on. Don't.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Well, technically, before I get to my thought, he was in the news, by the way, 2 days ago. He sold, apparently.
He was?
He sold
No way.
shares. He sold shares. He got $412 million for his shares into the WWE.
Oh, yeah, he's going to need money for court costs.
I thought the same thing, by the way. I thought that's why he sold those shares.
Come on. It ain't a lie. It's the truth,
But
man.
I did want to bring up the point, as we're here with the Baltimore Kid and our coach, Chris Craven, talking the fallout from SmackDown, Road to WrestleMania, Sting, whatever else is on your mind and more, is a point that I think Bischoff was making in a way is that I think the WWE interest on social media is far greater now than even some major sports. You know, if you go on Twitter, and I don't know if you guys are on Twitter or not, but like to me, I see WWE trend on Twitter far more right now than baseball, trending far more right now than the NBA, far more right now than college basketball. So when I look at like WWE interest in those particular points, that's where I think really what he was trying to say came out most.
Yeah, I mean, this is the truth, though. Like I said, I mean, wrestling is hot right now. It's undeniable. And I know that we took a couple shots at some of the other guys last week, and, you know, it is what it is. But it's a fact of the matter that right now, the national media attention and global media attention is what is going on inside the wrestling world. And
I think it's the two biggest main events in WrestleMania history, night 1 and night 2.
100%.
Yeah. How you see my baseball?
Baseball has been very good to me. Baseball has been very good to me. That was I forget who said
Oh,
that.
wait a minute. Hold on. I forgot my bat. I got to go put it on my shoulder. Shout out to Chris. I think I saw that. I saw it.
And speaking of people, I want to give a shout out to who's going to be with me Sunday night. You never heard of this guy? You were on his show once, right?
No, I never heard of him.
Taylor? Were we ever on Taylor's show? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen him do one. Is he do one? I don't know. He doesn't.
He actually had one 2 weeks ago, and he also was on here last night. And I actually guessed.
I saw he was on here with some guy that is a really good magician. He does a really good disappearing act and then reappearing. And
which one was that? Because we have a lot of people that come on.
That one guy that thinks he's a real deal or something.
Oh, that tinfoil kid?
By the way, we're inducting him into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, for God's sake.
He's coming on, he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm going to promise you that you're not going to want to miss that one. And on top of that, we called 2 of his matches with James Taylor.
How are you inducting him into the Hall of Fame before WWE does? He's supposed to be there right now.
Well, because on Sportzwire, we actually think all wrestling matters. So for us, we kind of actually live up to the banner. I mean, look, at this point, at the end of the day, I mean, Craven Rage talks about different things, but Sportswire, as a matter of fact, is all wrestling matters. And we did put Skulls in the Hall of Fame. C2K is in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, we are trying to be, diplomatic in this. So, I mean, C2K C2K is an 8-time Hall of Famer, by the way. I mean, we love C2K on Sportswire. He's actually got a big show right now at the Big Bad Silver Wolf, but he's an 8-time Hall of Famer. I mean,
I want you to induct. I want you to have a whole category for all the weird championships that they hold on their shoulders. The
I'm pleading the fifth on that because there's a lot of people that love Sportswire.
Looking one that ADT had. Like, I want to see. No.
I'm going to plead the fifth on all that because I love what a lot of these wrestlers do. And I'm going to bring on, speaking of which, the nemesis James Taylor in a second because he wants to give his WrestleMania thoughts. And it's not going to be about Stone Cold, I promise you. He's not going to talk about Stone Cold in this case, but he is going to talk about The Rock. And he's going to lay the smackdown on the main event 40. But before I get to the nemesis, in my opinion, Tom, it would have been good if Logan put his YouTube logo on the mat to pay homage to his old YouTube channel. Interesting.
I mean, I think they did enough for him with the Prime. If you're on YouTube, you know Logan Paul, so I don't think you don't need to give any shout out to that right now. Prime is kind of his main focus at the moment, and WWE. So I think doing that was enough at the moment.
Fair enough here, and I just want to pull up this here. Just wanted to give this link and see if we got and we do have an issue with feedback. I don't know if Coach, if you have anything in the background because we are echoing a little bit. Are you sure you have nothing going on in the background? Because we were not echoing, and now we're echoing according to the legendary Nemesis. Okay, all right. Well, fair enough, but we'll see if we can eventually fix that. But yeah. I don't know if I'm echoing. Let me try it here. Testing 1 2 1 2 3. No, I guess we'll have to figure it out. I don't know what the answer is, but
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. But speaking of which, well, I'll try to figure this out. A man that we always have time for on Sportswire Radio, the legendary Nemesis James Taylor. James Taylor. Long time no speak.
I hear a whole bunch of feedback. What's going on?
No idea.
What?
Someone echoing. What?
What?
You hear
I
that?
thought you weren't going to talk about Austin.
What?
Somebody's echoing.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Everybody take turns backing out and come back in.
Well, it was echoing before I came in.
Does someone have a phone volume turned up?
No.
Are you on a phone, Coach?
My phone's off. It's right here.
Anyways, when I'm talking, I hear I can hear myself talking right after that.
Sure, is this something you just have on your device because you like to hear yourself talk? Like what?
Sometimes, yes. Nice beanie, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How you doing? My brand new baby shirt, you know.
Brand new shirt, yeah.
What?
Yeah, look at that. We got a
Well, I'm gonna get yours too. I think is the echoing fixed now a little bit? Do we have any echoes off? Okay.
Yeah,
better now.
Should be good now.
Okay, let's go with it. James Taylor, always good to be with you back almost on your adopted home on Sportswire Radio. Maybe I should turn the show over to you at this point, but you wanted to say something about WrestleMania, and I want to give you the opportunity to say whatever you want because, after all, you're a Hall of Famer, and you are James Taylor.
Yeah, I'm James Taylor. You're damn right. Yeah, and I get a lot of feedback on either way. Yeah, that's Taft Taylor. He's a great guy. There's the Stone Cold Knockoff. There's a good guy. I feel like coming on here and venting for a second, but I'm going to talk about WrestleMania because I'm excited for WrestleMania. 40 years of WrestleMania. Been watching it since I was 3 years old, since I was, a wee little lad. I've been watching it. I've enjoyed it. Watched Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant. 36 years later, here we are. Biggest of all time. 40 years. You got The Rock and Roman Reigns challenging Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. But no, did they accept? I just watched SmackDown. Did y'all watch SmackDown? I watched SmackDown.
We were talking about it before.
Yeah, we're all here to talk about Mary Poppins. So, yeah, we watched SmackDown.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you watched it. It's a good show. You should check it out sometime.
I guess we're not talking about ADT then here on this one. We're talking about Stone. I'm just kidding.
ADT. Yeah.
Where you been? We do this every week. We follow up on SmackDown. Where you been? Keep up with the
sounds
time.
like 3 letters. I don't know. But anyway, so we watched what happened, saw what happened. Wish I could find out what happened at the end of the show. We saw Cody smack The Rock. What do you think? You think it's going to be big or what? I think what's going to happen is they're going to go into the main event. They're going to do what they do best. They're going to electrify. They're going to spew out all the shit they got. But I really think Rock and Roman's going to go over. And then they're going to go on to night 2. Cody's going to be in for a hell of a ride. Bloodline's going to be at ringside. But I really think Roman is going to get screwed over by The Rock. Have you not been seeing The Rock doing this thing? I think that loser symbol is towards the Roman Reigns. Because what did Cody say at that little gathering in Las Vegas? He said that if his grandfather was looking down, he'd be ashamed. Honestly, I think The Rock could agree with that because Roman has just been an egotistical son of a bitch for the past 3-4 years. And what better
But you
person?
you didn't see what The Rock said about Cody Rhodes and basically him being born, though. You didn't hear that part.
Yeah,
did you?
I've seen it all. I saw what he said today in Dallas with his little cowboy hat on right before he came out to.
All right, fair enough. Good enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I like those shirts. By
Yeah,
the
he
way,
showed
with
up looking
slapping
like Brokeback and everything, and then he had his little words to say. He wouldn't get to the point. Yeah, we saw all that too. It's Brokeback Rock.
Brokeback
Rock.
Rock.
A lot of different references tonight, Coach. Coach, you're certainly. I've heard you reference the President of the United States. You've mentioned now Brokeback and Brokeback.
Don't forget Vince McMahon. I mean, I could have said
Yeah,
Ben
I was
Watson.
getting there next. You also mentioned some guy, Brock Lesnar. I mean, boy, we're really going. Are we really reaching for views on Sportswire? Do we really need more views? I don't know what it is, but maybe we
No,
need
I
more
just
views.
like causing controversy. That's
Look,
who
come
I
for
am.
the controversy, stay for the entertainment. Sportswire Radio. That's
We
how
do actually try to give entertainment, and we always do that here each and every time. So, James Taylor, the Nemesis, are you convinced then, from what you're trying to tell us, that Cody Rhodes is going to finally have his moment, or no?
Yeah, definitely. But I know the secret. I know the secret in
You
all
know the
of
secret
wrestling.
sauce.
I know the secret sauce in all of wrestling. I know the secret sauce
You were
in all of the
backstage with
WWE.
WWE with Steel.
But apparently,
You got an inside point.
You know what? I noticed something, Craven. I noticed that you like trying to start talking over me all of a sudden. You like to go and speak like you're something special. Clearly, you're obviously hot and bothered and you're ready to have some action. I mean, you're only a couple of months away, kid. And if you're really, really that eager to get in the ring, let's go.
Wait. I'm in game mode. You see,
You're
I'm
in
ready
game
to go.
mode. You in game
So you
mode.
better wait.
One
You better
veteran,
show
but
up
one
in Ohio
veteran. You're
ready
in
to
game
go.
mode.
Hey, we're not going to show up in Ohio to watch the same old match you replay for everybody when you get on the air to see how you did an inverted bump.
That's Craven Rage.
We're getting in the ring more.
This isn't Craven Rage you're talking about. This isn't the Big Bad Silver Wolf. This isn't Loose Cannon.
The
This is
original Craven.
James Taylor. Yes, but you are talking about
I
James
beg to
Taylor,
differ.
same old stuff. This is no Loose Cannon. Let me tell you something. This is no Big Bad Silver Wolf. This is no Craven Rage. This is no Z2K. What's Tyler Ark? This is no Adonis Felios. This is no Jacob Young, the Black Fox Jacob Young. This is a true living legend here. I mean, this is a man with 105,000 followers.
It just means you have that many stalkers.
This is no Alexander Kelly.
How many have
And we love
touched?
these guys. We love C2K. We love
Hey.
Alexander Kelly. We love Big Bad Silverwolf. We love Loose Cannon. We love Tyler Rock, the Man on Masters. This is no Zero Deus. This is no, I mean, you want to talk about who else is out there? JDT. I mean, it was ADT, but then it was JDT first of all. I mean, there's a lot of different people.
And all of these people that you're talking about, Tom,
yes.
as soon as you bring me on, they shut up because I make them shut up.
But James Taylor's
I
different.
leave them
Though.
speechless.
But this is James
because I don't
Taylor.
pull my punches.
Well, but
Okay.
James Taylor though, he knows how to take a punch and throw a punch back. That's
I'm surprised he's not promoting Broken Skull beer like fucking Logan Paul with pride. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you're going to come on here and you're going to cut a promo about WrestleMania and you're going to wobble back and forth in the kitchen and you're going to get all loud with your hillbilly accent.
So, you know what, by the way, Coach? I want to say this. Don't mess with Texas, by the way, because I happen to love Texas, by the way. And James Taylor.
I love Texas too, but he ain't in Texas, is he?
Well, he's from Texas, actually. He was born in Texas. TWF.
Are you there now?
That's all right, Tom.
If you love it,
Let him
be there.
loose. Let the Craven loose. I mean, I thought Craven Rage was the true Craven. He's been doing this for like 35 years, I thought.
Hornswoggle trained him.
Hornswoggle trained him. That's a living legend right there.
He's been doing it 35 years, doggy years.
Yeah.
That's about where his experience level is.
So that would mean
I was confused. I was confused because you call yourself
So that means,
but he calls
that means
himself
if it's dog years, it's 4 years technically, because dog years was it 9 years?
Craven Rage has the experience of a 4-year-old. Yes. Absolutely.
Could you? Well,
when you get in the ring and you do this,
well,
that's not how you hit somebody.
Unfortunately, there was Skulls versus Craven Rage, and we love Skulls to death on Sportswire, but that was a match that maybe should have happened. Not at the moment it did. That's all.
The motherfucker couldn't lace my boots, and there they are, right there. He couldn't lace my fucking boots.
So then
He
what's
don't
your,
have time.
so then what's your issue tonight, kid? What's your issue with me? I did nothing wrong to you. I respect you because you're a veteran too.
Oh,
Veteran to veteran.
ready.
Are you wanting
Are
to
you
fight?
not getting ready? Are you not ready to go for Ohio?
Does it look like I'm not ready?
Yeah, it looks like you're
Huh?
not ready. You're gonna question that. You're gonna question what I'm doing and why I'm coming.
Yeah,
Come on,
where
man.
you going?
I don't pull my punches. Let's go.
You don't want to pull your punches. I don't see you
I said
throwing
I
any
don't
hands
pull my
right now.
punches.
It just seems like you're flapping your gums right now.
Flapping my gums. Okay.
Yeah. But think about your next comeback. That's all right. You sit there and you act like you're tough, but you ain't tough. You're not tough against me.
You know it's gonna be really funny.
It is going to be
really
funny. We're
when
both
you
going to
get
be
back on
laughing.
Nemesis
Well, you
show
know
and
what?
have to
Speaking of fun,
tell
I
everybody
would love to
about how
continue
you
this.
went to Ohio and got your ass whooped.
Well,
You
I
promise?
love the state of Ohio, but I also love some comments and love some other people that want to join into the conversation. And I want to say Ethan Sorensen is doing a great job supporting Sportswire Radio. The segment between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and Roman and The Rock was good, except for one thing. They should have had a brawl after Cody slapped The Rock. Almost like I think that, you know what I think, ladies and gentlemen, before I bring on some more people, some more friends of Sportswire, that the coach and James Taylor are trying to reenact what they would have hoped the end of SmackDown was. I mean, I realized in a way we're getting into our character roles. Maybe the coach is playing The Rock. Maybe James Taylor is playing Cody Rhodes. Maybe I'm trying to play Paul Heyman and trying to certainly say I'm an advocate for both of these men and an advocate for all wrestling matters. But clearly, I think that's what Ethan is trying to tell us here. But
who do I get to be?
You can be anybody you want to be. But speaking of people that are here, I want to get him in before I bring some of the guys here first from the Sportswire. And these guys here, we certainly saw them yesterday. Sunday, two guys that look like them are going to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But we are talking about none other than changing lanes before we bring on the rest of the TF Takes guys on is Mr. Sandboy and Shane. Shane, turn that off. We're changing lanes like De Niro and Goodfellas. Get that feedback off the air because we live now on Sportswire.
There we go. Shit.
Coach, you got to hear the new Sad Boy single. I hope when you return to the ring, you come out to Sad Boy's music. I'm telling you, it's freestyle produced by Big U. You got to come out to it. I'm telling you, you will certainly get some of the young fans. You'll get some of the new talents on. I promise you it'll be worth it.
I got my entrance theme picked by Big Me. I don't need Big U.
But we got to produce it. And I want to give a big shout out also to another one of our new friends from the TF Takes guys here. The one and only Scooby Stoney, who's getting ready for the football guys when they come on here in a few minutes. And I feel like we're the Brady Bunch. Look at all the tiles now.
What's going on, guys?
Great to meet you, Scooby. What an absolute honor it is to have you here on Sportswire. I see you're kind of watching this Donnybrook here. But, guys, how are we all doing tonight? I guess maybe we can kind of mesh the different groups. Who knows? Maybe we should keep everybody on tonight. I don't know. I mean, what is everybody doing tonight? Well, James Taylor, you're a busy man. James Taylor, you're probably getting ready to get another 105,000. And by the way, you've been hitting the gym, James.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I can. Doing what I got to do.
Oh, I can't wait for that. So, how are we doing on a Friday night? What's on everybody's minds?
I've just been thinking about football pretty much all day. The off-season moves. I've been thinking about just football in general. I don't know. Today's a very football day. The weekend in general.
Right? In New York, it did feel footballish outside. I will say, being outside in the friendly confines of Kings County, Brooklyn, New York, my born home borough, working there, it did feel like it was September rather than March. So I will actually have to agree with you. It did feel like football, and we're kind of throwing the football around with all the different things here. I think I have more fellas that are popping on here shortly. But I want to talk about something that everybody actually might have an opinion on. So what do you guys all think on Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
It's a money grab. It's a money grab. Stage.
I can't wait to see Jake get his ass whipped. Mike.
Will he get his ass kicked though? Because Jake Paul's he's 30 years younger than Tyson.
I don't give a damn. Have you seen Mike Tyson's training videos? He still looks like he's 20
I
years old.
absolutely have. I played him in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Mike still looks like the Mike Tyson of old. And like I said, I cannot wait to see Jake's bitch ass finally get dropped in the middle of the ring. And it's going to happen.
Like I said, either way, someone's going to get hit or they're going to get bit, right? So, one way or the other.
Wait a minute. Does Mike Tyson does he still bite? I mean, does anybody know?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's an option in his repertoire. Sure. I mean, why don't you go ask him?
Especially if he's
I
getting
would
his
love
ass
to
kicked.
ask him on Sportswire. We'd be more than happy to have him on Sportswire. We would have him. Listen, that would be a more entertaining interview than maybe the last Craven Rage one, or maybe the Big Bad Silver Wolf one.
Yeah, but you can't cut him off to go to the baseball guys.
I wouldn't cut if Mike Tyson was on Sportswire. With all we love Rod Marosca and Justin Gianelli, but we wouldn't cut them to come in to talk about the 1979 Mets and the 2024 Mets if Mike Tyson was here. But they would know that. They would know that if we had Mike Tyson here now, that they wouldn't.
I heard some of their comments last week. We TBK and I continued to watch.
Oh,
Oh yeah, now what if speaking before some of the guys come on, if they do show up here, we were actually thinking about maybe a Rock'em Jock'em Sportswire game. Maybe some of the sports guys, obviously Scooby's a sports guy, Sad Boy's a sports guy, Shane is for Shane. And then we've got some of the other guys here, like the Nemesis James Taylor, of course, the legendary James Taylor, Coach Chris Craven and TBK. And we were thinking maybe we should do like a sports versus wrestling guys, where I could like maybe do a trivia show, like the winner gets something. I'll pick something out, you guys win, and we'll do like maybe trivia night, like on movies or something. Something like where nobody has an advantage. I mean, what do you think on all that?
Scooby Stoney has an advantage. I'll tell you that right now. This dude does nothing but sit and watch movies. I swear.
Read, watch movies, man. You name it, we there.
Well, the last movie I saw was Argyle, and it was absolutely a disaster. And by the way, John Cena was in it. Don't go see it though.
Have you seen Dune 2?
Yes, I did see that. Yes,
it was
that
great.
Was good. That was good.
But it's not fair, Tom. I mean, the baseball guys, their favorite movie, the only movie they watch is A League of Their Own. Girls play ball.
Madonna's in, but Madonna's in that when Madonna looked like Madonna, though. I mean, that was...
Some of us guys look like we watch a little bit more movies than Babe Ruth stroking his bat. Like, we watch other stuff. Like, are they gonna know other stuff, or is it all ball related?
I know
classics,
man.
What was the last movie you watched, Mr. Coach?
It's all balls.
What's that?
What was the last movie you watched, Mr. Coach?
The last movie I watched?
Yeah, the last movie you watched, sir.
The Marvels.
Okay.
That's the last one I saw in theaters.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like you go to the movies too much then these days.
Soon, Ghostbusters.
All right, Ghostbusters. All right, I'll give you that much. I'll give you that.
And of
superhero
course,
movies are the only thing that bring people out, man.
Yeah, I mean, true. Remake movies there's been some really bad movies the last year and a half. Yeah. I will say that there's been some really bad movies. Maybe not as bad as maybe some things that. You okay, James Taylor? You look like you're like in a serious mood today.
Got a lot on my mind.
Anything you want to share?
I started on him as soon as he jumped on.
Oh, it ain't you. This other shit.
Is it anybody here on Sportswire? Because then let us know, and we'll certainly try to apologize.
No, I don't need no apologies. No, I'm fine. Just ready to fight. I guess I'm just in a fighting mood. Y'all say it's football season. Y'all are in a football mood. I get that. I'm just in a fighting mood. Ready to get in the ring and beat the hell out of somebody. That's what I'm wanting to do.
Well, you got the coach Chris Craven here. You want to beat him up?
I mean, if he wants to go, we can go. I mean, I don't know how we're going to do it right now, though. He's like probably 3,000 miles away. So,
can we do like an AI? I mean, no, we could do an AI fight here. Anybody want to do an AI fight?
Sure. Load up 2K24. Let's go. Come on, Taylor.
What's wrong with 2K24, by the way, mister?
Hey, I love 2K24. I think they did a really good job on it. I'm loving the showcase mode. Some people I know has already flown through the freaking thing, but I like to watch all the cutscenes. I just now got to WrestleMania 10. I'm doing the ladder match, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, which is a killer.
I'm on that right now.
Oh, I gotta for the guys here.
To Sean Jovi, if he's watching or if he watches this back.
Okay, what do you got for Sean
man? He threw a fit at me, like a little small fit, on the group chat because I wouldn't. I uploaded the character and You got to change your character so I can download it. I haven't unlocked all the stuff you got. You got to do it. La 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 la. And I ignored him specifically because I don't play that. Like, I mean, I did my thing. I played it, whatever. He's got like this whole fantasy thing he's doing with all the WCE guys. Like he wants to be Craven Rage and Craven Rage's girlfriend and Deuce Green, and he wants to feel special.
All right.
So he's like doing what I do for my PWF, but he's being picky about it.
Very.
That's sad.
Well, you know what? Obviously, we'll certainly talk about that, I'm sure, at a different time. But if you are on Sportswire Radio, let me introduce some people that have come on to the show for the first time here. So if you're here with us on a Friday, I want to formally introduce some of the guys from the TSFT. Give a big plug to in a second because they have certainly joined us on Friday to kind of liven things up on Sportswire. Because, you know, we were kind of maybe needing an attitude, maybe needing a change for some views, maybe changing things that maybe what used to work and maybe now what should work. We actually want to plug these guys because I got a whole bunch of links here for you. First of all, you can plug the guys here on TSF Takes on all platforms you can find them. Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. The guys have just debuted. It's going to be really cool what these guys do. Football talk. You need fantasy talk. You need draft coverage. You need NBA. Whatever it is, these guys, I promise you, are going to certainly become one of the premier sports groups around. You have to follow them. You also want to follow our guy here, Scooby. Follow him on Twitch. Follow him on Twitter. He was plugging us on Sportswire earlier today. Your boy, Sad Boy, I'm telling you, Coach, you're going to come out to his music when you return to the ring. You got Shane, by the way. I mean, Shane looks like he is a man. He's a real man of a mountain. You know, we call Tyler Ark a man on Machinist. This guy's a man of a mountain. He literally looks like a mountain in real life. He's so tall. He's so strong. And that's why he's so fly on Sportswire Radio. And, of course, the Baltimore Kid is with us here. And the coach, Chris Craven. So, obviously, we're hanging out here. We may transition back into sports. So, before we do that, for Mr. Taylor and Mr. Craven, because we are, you know, I want to talk a little sports with the guys because I want to get into some football with them and give them a chance to promote their stuff. Is there anything that you two gentlemen want to specifically plug before we get ready to talk the other sports in the world?
No, I got nothing.
You got nothing? Well, where can I buy your merchandise?
Well, it's not listed on the website. I had a couple of these made. I can get you one. Just got to get me an address to send it to, boss.
Okay, I will do that when we're off the air. Sounds good. And you know, we are going to be live Sunday night because James Taylor and I are going to be doing some commentary on a match of two guys that look like these guys but aren't these guys, and two guys that look like them are going to be inducted into our Hall of Fame. We're going to be here at about 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I hope you tune in. And we're also going to be back tomorrow with Ace Reed of the Wired Up podcast. And then before that, Mr. Jake Matthews of NEW, New Wrestling. He's a hardcore extreme guy in Connecticut. So, Mr. Taylor, anything you want to say before we see you back on Sunday night?
What time Sunday night are we doing this? Like typical time? Probably about like between
9:30. Yeah, 9:30 Central Standard Time.
9:30 Central Time. Yep, there you go. Okay, so yeah, be sure to check that out. Look forward to calling some matches. Maybe we'll call another one, 2 or 3, 4 or 5. I don't know how long we're gonna be on there doing it, but definitely gonna be exciting to do that. I'm just living this. I just love this. I get a lot of shit for me in the way that I am about wrestling, but then I get a lot of people who can tell that I'm really passionate about it. One thing that you just don't really see a whole lot of in the backyard world, I'm gonna say it right now, is passion. You just see a lot of guys who want to gloat about how many championships they got. You'll see a bunch of guys that just act like their shit don't stink when it does. You can smell the shit states and states away.
Oh,
but beside the point,
That's because they're sadistic.
Yeah.
Well,
of that,
it is a Friday night. I don't want to.
It is a Friday night. You're right. You're absolutely right. Instead of getting all gaspy and stuff, I guess I'll go ahead and go so y'all can talk your football.
No, I mean, well, what I was trying to say is it's a Friday night. The weekend's about to start. And people are feeling good and excited, and you know that's all I was trying to say. You can,
I know.
You can stay on 24 hours a day, James Taylor, if you want to, but we're just going to talk sports.
And I appreciate the support, the respect that you show me, Tom. I really do, and it goes a long way. Some people don't got that, and I get it. It is what it is.
Well, you've always got my
So-
support, and so does Coach, and so does TBK. You guys always got my support. You got my support. I always will support anybody, and these guys have it also on the platform. Our new guys who are going to take over here.
One last thing. Why can't I remember the name? Anyways, the creator of Dragon Ball Z. Did y'all hear the news about that?
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw that. Very
Akira
Bad,
Toriyama.
man.
Yeah.
Much
Sad.
respect to him.
He's
He'll
legend.
definitely be missed.
68 years old. Very sad news. Very sad.
Proudly supporting the hat. I've been doing it for years. Love it because it's one of my favorite series of all time. I'm sure all of y'all can agree with that. And there it is.
I remember Dragon Ball Z here in New York. They used to play it on what was known then as Channel 11. It was WPIX. They used to play Dragon Ball Z. So all great stuff there. And some person wants to mention this person's name. I have no idea why. I don't know who that person is. But Mr. TBK, we're going to change lanes here. I think go into some sports and talk with these guys and let them promote their products. Anything else you want to say? And I think we're here Monday night also. We're going to be on After Raw. So you might see some of these same familiar faces. So we're going to be back on Monday night. So anything you'd like to say, Mr. Baltimore Kid? And anything, obviously, if anybody needs logo designs, anybody needs anything to work on when it comes to merchandise, TBK's got you covered. You can follow him on Instagram. But anything else you want to plug here, by the way?
Yeah. Great show. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I love it. I'm here for it.
It's
We
fun.
gotta
I mean,
do
I
this
was waiting for
sometime.
the regular Sportswire guys, Rob Maraska, Chris Pizzayer, and Justin Gianelli. Justin canceled. Rob Maraska I was waiting on, but doesn't matter. We got
See,
new
there's
guys
two more
here.
people that I chased off.
Well,
Thank
unless
you.
you want to stay here, Coach, and talk football. I mean, everybody could sit and talk football. But
I got to go to work.
Okay, fair enough. Duly noted. But anything else, TPK? Do you want to plug? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, obviously, as he said, if anybody needs any logo work, anything done, be sure to hit me up. You can find me on Facebook, Ryan Andrew Familero. You can find me on Instagram, t.b.k0892. Hit me up. We still got the podcast going. Like I said, we probably won't do another episode until closer to WrestleMania. Just so that we have something to actually talk about. Like I said, I'm not just going to put out episodes for the sake of doing it.
I appreciate that because sometimes people say all I do is being on Sportswire, but I appreciate that.
Well, yeah. So I hope you guys can catch that when, if and when a new one comes out. That is a handsome fellow right there.
And that's what if you want to get logo designs, you can actually follow because we have the share the screen button. I actually thought, why not?
I can find him. I find him in Middle River. I don't know. I don't do the internet thing. I can find him in Middle River, Maryland now.
Right. And I'll just take a trip down to Reisterstown, Maryland to find Chris.
Well, you guys can knock on each other's door. That's the good thing.
Yeah, but anyway, make sure to follow the podcast. Hit me up on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. And be sure to catch me on Sportswire when I'm on.
Monday night after Raw, I think that Coach and you and TBK will be with us with Randy and maybe those two guys that looked like two guys that were. But until then, I'm going to let you guys run. And I want to say hello to Mr. J.R. Wind. How many new backyard feds are in Wisconsin right now? Too many to list. There's like the Silver Wolf one, there's Tyler Marcotte one, there's WCE, there's just many of them. And if I put all of them together, I don't know if we have one good fed, sadly. But that's a different conversation for a different time. But we love those feds. We wish them well, and they're certainly going to be talked about on Sportswire Radio. JR, nice to see you. But Coach, Mr. Taylor, and TBK, I'm going to certainly let you guys run. James, I'm going to see you Sunday, and the two of yous, I'll certainly see you Monday, and looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
1, 2, and I think James Taylor left. So that means we are actually now with just about full strength. So obviously we're here on Sportswire Radio, and we're here now with two of our regular analysts, clean-shaven Rob Maraska, Chris Pizzayer, host of the Talking Rivals and the Liftoff Jets, joined by our new guys here from the TSF Takes because they're going to freshen things up for us. They're going to certainly make sure that, we add a little bit of spice. And we're joined by Scooby Stoney, who's a New York Jets fan. Are you from New York and I'm missing something?
No, I am not from New York. I just love New York teams, all of them.
Really? You were telling me
Yep.
on Instagram. And what is the appeal? Seeing that
Right, for the Jets, what is the appeal? I'm a
you
Jets
guys
fan.
are
I'm-
not.
When I was young, I loved Brett Favre, but I hated the Packers. So I
Okay.
supported Brett Favre forever, but as soon as he went to a new team, I always kind of had like a soft spot for the Vikings and the Jets. Although
Well,
his Jets run was
2008,
not long.
you had 1 year. You had to have been a kid when he
Yeah, I
joined the
was.
Jets.
And loved the Rex Ryan era. Loved it. And now I love this era too. I think it's good
You
days
love
ahead.
this era of the Jets?
I think it's good days ahead, man. I think it's good days.
Why
hope
do you
so.
think this is? We're really starting interesting here. So I'm curious because I got two guys here, that have probably seen like a million years of football in their lifetimes, and
Mhm.
the four of us are a little younger. I mean, you three of you are younger than me, but we're still relatively in the same ballpark. But why do you think that this is a good era ahead for the New York Jets? I'm curious. What a debut to start here, Mr. Scooby. Tell us why.
I would number one just say they're competitive. Like they got in my opinion,
Okay.
one of the toughest divisions in football, and you can
Fair.
pull out games on Buffalo. I think the Dolphins are the ones they struggle a lot more with, and now you're sweeping the
New England.
Patriots. Yeah,
Well, the Jets
So-
finally beat him after 20 different
So-
tries.
So I'm saying I think they got the team. They just got to fix the pass protection. I think they can get there.
Well, I actually have to, before I get to the rest of the guys and Rob Maraska, Chris Bizet is the host here on SportsWireRadio.org, which is our internet radio station where we play shows like the Talking Rivals and the Liftoff Jets. And we have a show from the Liftoff Jets, which I'm going to play, which I always play traditionally on Sundays because, well, there's no more football, but my one football show is the Liftoff Jets, and I wanted to be able to keep that in the rotation. So when you hear some of those things, Chris, obviously you are the man that has covered the New York Jets in the NFL for me for just about 3 years now. How does that make you feel from basically a guy from thousands of miles away, but is a Jet fan? And he's really given things that you were saying 3 years ago on this platform.
Yeah, no, I feel good about them too, but my optimism is not as high as it was, say, last offseason coming into the season.
Yeah, you were like, we're going to 12 wins. It's going to be good. I'm telling you, we're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still there. I'm still there.
They got a lot of work to do this offseason, right? Free agency and the draft, they have to hit everything. So yeah, if everything is fixed, if they, like you said, if they fix the offensive line by the time the season starts, yeah, I'll feel a lot better. They get another wide receiver. It doesn't have to be, obviously doesn't have to be a top option because we still got Gary Wilson there. So they need another weapon on offense, receiving wise. Defense, maybe just a little just freshen up the run defense. Obviously, that started to get weaker by the end of the season. So, but other than that, yeah, I feel good too. But the main thing, more than anything, is keeping Rodgers healthy. Obviously, right?
100%.
He's healthy.
He's got to
this season,
play.
100%.
We're good to go.
Yeah, he's got to play a drive, man. We got to
Yeah.
see it.
More than 4 plays would be nice this year.
He's got to go out there and play because we saw literally one drive. I'll come back to Ron.
And you know what? And quickly, listen, the door is open now with Buffalo just gutted their whole defensive backfield. So I think they're kind of not in a rebuild, but they're rebuilding.
They dropped
their
down a
team.
little bit. They dropped
Yeah.
down a notch.
So you know what? The door's open for us to get to the top of the AFC East. So we'll
That
see.
defense is going to come play any given Sunday.
Yeah, we know
Any
that.
given
Well,
Sunday.
you could
We know
look
that,
at it and
yeah.
say the Jets win 7 games with no real quarterback. If you have a quarterback and you look at the division itself, you should go from 7 back to 10. You could look at it that way. I
Easily.
want to, before I get to some other guys, I want to say hello to Ron Franklin. Ron Franklin, of course, sort of an analyst on Sportswire Radio. Ron, good to see you as always, and we'll certainly try to work you back on to the show next week or maybe this week. But I'm curious on Sad Boy because Sad Boy TSF takes. When you hear some of this Jet talk here, what do you think about the Jets this offseason and where do they go? Because I want to get your kind of objective opinion because you are Mr. Football.
See, I'm a Packer fan, so I'm gonna try to be as non-biased as humanly possible. The upside about Garrett Wilson being your only star receiver, only real target y'all have, Aaron's gonna make that work regardless. So I mean, you have the upside there. Other than that, I mean, keeping Aaron happy is the only thing you have to worry about, honestly.
Agreed.
The defense itself, I mean, you have Sauce, you have a fantastic secondary. The run defense could be better, but Quentin Williams. He's gonna continue to grow and be a beast. I don't really know. I don't know. I didn't really keep up with the Jets last year. I'm gonna be honest. After Aaron got hurt, I was excited to see him play with the Jets.
So I want to
but-
ask you a question. I want to ask you a fun question here because we got New York guys on here, and I'm really curious because you're a Packers fan. Now, Ron Franklin's our Packers guy, and I love Ron, but you're certainly a little bit more energetic when it comes to some of the things you say because there's a guy that looks like you that was in the wrestling business, but not you though. But so I'm curious when you thought about the Packers this season and Aaron Rodgers was not there, were you rooting hard against him? Like, what was your objectively speaking? Where did you fall in this whole situation with Rodgers? Literally,
The whole situation with Rodgers is I knew it was bound to happen, and I'm honestly glad it happened now. You can ask Scooby Stoney. I have been optimistic about Jordan Love since day one. I was like,
Me
this
too.
kid
came on the
he
end of
has
the
something.
season. I'll tell you that much. He really came on.
Even the start of the season, we started off hot with 3-0, and he looked really good. We had a struggle there at the middle of the season, but
middle of the
honestly,
season, you left 6 out of 8. Yep, that was the 6 out of 8.
the Packers always kind of do that. The middle of the season is always the toughest for the Packers, and especially in injury-riddled seasons. And last year in particular was kind of an injury-riddled season. And then the Rasul Douglas trade always really messed me up because I think he was a great little piece for our secondary that was obviously struggling the whole season. Jair being hurt most of the season. And then, but looking toward this offseason, I'm really hoping we let go of David Bakhtiari. He's a great tackle, but it's honestly, he hasn't played a full season in like 3 years. I mean, he's like 32 now. I mean, he's getting on the older side. In the draft, I'm looking toward maybe getting another secondary piece. We really need somebody back there, a safety in particular, because Jeremiah Owens, something like that, trash. I don't know if you watched that NFC Championship game. That man cannot tackle a paper bag if it was just standing still on the ground. That man missed so many tackles. And he would hit and he wouldn't wrap his arms. Like the most fundamental thing in football, and he can't do it. Darnell Savage is playing like crap. We need some secondary help bad. That's
So
the number one
what
thing.
would you like to, and I'm going to bring some of the other guys in here. And we've sent the link out to Ron Franklin. So if he wants to talk about different things, and I'm going to work different sports in here for a second. But what would you then like the Packers this offseason to do, sad boy, for you to do?
I'm so glad you asked, Tom.
I'm so glad I got a chance to ask because we're going to change lanes with you.
Justin Simmons would be my number one option to go out. I mean, throw him the bag. I mean, he's coming off a fantastic little 5-year stretch. I mean, he's been one of the most consistent and underrated safeties in the NFL. And he's going to be 31 this year. I think we can get him for a little bit of a cheaper price. I think he's a great veteran guy, too. We need a veteran back there in the secondary that's really going to stake up and take a hold of that defense. I could also see us potentially signing Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer's 32. He's a little bit on the older side, more of a run stopper, but he's decent in coverage. I just honestly want a veteran piece for that secondary. Jair, he's a veteran, but he doesn't have a veteran mentality. He's still very childish, and you could definitely tell that from how he does his interviews and the way he talks to the media. He still has that young, childish mentality that's not like a leader for the defense. Kenny Clark's coming back. Quay Walker had a pretty good year last year. Rashawn Gary had a great year last year. The front seven's pretty good. I think we're pretty set in the front seven. It's just honestly the secondary at this point, which the Packers for the past 20 years after Charles Woodson has always had secondary issues. The receivers looking great. We have young receivers. Christian Watson's are really disappointing this year. Hurt most of the year and then drops everything he touches. So, I mean, that's not great. Tight ends are looking decent. We got Aaron Jones to restructure his contract, so we're saving about $5 million from that. I think we're not going to re-sign A.J. Dillon, which is a good thing. We can get someone just as good in the draft. The offense is looking good. The offensive line still has some holes in it, but I think we can patch up some things. I know the Bills released Mitchell Morse, and that would be a pretty good pickup for us. I think Mitchell Morse would be a pretty good pickup.
All right, before I bring Rob Morosky, I want to see who's a baseball fan and who's not, because he's dying to talk baseball, and I'm going to ask a funny question on baseball for the general audience. But for the guys that are here that are joining us for the first time, even though I know what you guys are about because we came on yesterday with you, talk about the TSF takes, what it is, and what can we expect from you guys now that you're here on on the general sports question. I know yesterday we were on the wrestling side, and it's still wrestling for guys that look like that might have been you. But for the audience here on Friday nights, what is TSF takes?
TSF takes. I mean, we all pretty much went to high school together or middle school. I've known.
Where did you go to high school together? And where was your high school?
It was in Rutherford County, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, they. A lot of the group went to Stewart's Creek, and some of us went to Smyrna. But I actually. The way I met all the guys was completely different. I knew some of our members through school. Big T, which I really hope he pops on here one day. I actually met him working my first ever job at McDonald's. We were just at McDonald's and
But
we
what
just hit it
role
off.
did you have at McDonald's? I want to know, what role were you up at the front? Were you the one that was making the Big Macs?
Nah.
What did you do at McDonald's?
Me and Big T ran the line, man. We just getting them burgers out quick. Maybe snack on a nugget.
Now,
or
how
two in
many
between,
burgers
you
did
know?
Shane eat? Well, when Shane was there at McDonald's, how many burgers did he scarf down when you were working there?
I mean, we could throw it back to the old promo days that says that he loves double cheeseburgers. Man.
I remember those promos from guys that looked like you, but yeah, I remember that line very
And to
well.
answer your question, Tom, it's 4. I can scarf down 4.
Well, you know what? That's a lot. Okay, I'll move on. But yeah, so you guys started out at McDonald's. What a small world.
Yeah. But we all used to play PS4 and Xbox, and we used to hop in the parties, and we could
These
ask
guys, like
Scooty,
Rob Morosky, they played like it was Atari. They started out with.
but we'd hop on Madden, we'd hop on 2K,
Oh boy. Okay.
and we'd have like 3 to 4 hour long debates about sports. I mean, we'd stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning just debating sports. And it was like 2021. We ended up making the channel, but we really didn't take it serious, and we didn't like do it consistently. But we picked it back up here in the past couple week, and we've been pretty consistent. Pretty much post every. We didn't have a post today, but there wasn't really much going on in the NFL today or in sports really in general.
What other sports will you guys be talking about for the audience?
Basketball, college football, hockey, boxing.
Well, hockey, okay, but and boxing, by the way. I mean, boxing is a big thing. I'm sure we could work some guys in here with this. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I mean, what do you, Rob Morosky, I see you nodding your head. Mike Tyson's probably a guy that's in. You remember watching back in 1984, whatever it was, and. What do you make of that? Like, no, didn't he start his career in 1984? I'm not trying to be facetious, but didn't he start his career in 1984?
Oh, it's for the money, of course, but it's going to be interesting. 57-year-old Mike Tyson. I mean, he still look at him.
He looks great. Now, listen, he's definitely. I would say in the last 5 or 6 years, he really got back into great shape. Yeah, I agree with you.
And check this out. I actually saw when he did that show about his life. I saw that at Caesars in Atlantic City, and we were amazed. We went there saying, what is this going to be? Is he going to be a joke? And it was good.
Oh, the one-man show. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
It was. I'm telling you, it was excellent. And I saw a different side of Mike Tyson. So
Well, he's 57 and Jake Paul is 27. I mean,
yeah, I know, 30 years.
Can he really beat this 27-year-old? I mean, 27 is still 27. I mean, you see something?
It's still Mike Tyson.
It's still Mike Tyson,
right? I don't know.
Hey,
I wouldn't mess with him.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people wouldn't, but Jake Paul, he's 27. I mean,
you never know. One shot from Tyson, and that could be.
It's not going to take much from Tyson.
You want to say something, Shane? Because you have experience in the world of fighting. I've seen you fight, actually, literally.
I mean, this is going to be a show at this point. I mean,
is it staged? I mean, we saw Tyson. What was it against? I'm trying to think. Who was it? Roy Jones Jr., right? And that was during COVID. That was one of the few things that was going on. This was obviously in 2020 when, the NFL had come back, with sort of.
You guys think you all right? We know it's for the money. It's a money grab, no doubt.
Of
But
course.
do you guys think it's a work? Like, do you think it's going to be like a wrestling match, or do you think it's going to be really?
No, I
see, the thing is
contracted.
with the thing is with that, it's not going to be a work. It's going to be real, and but there's going to be like a lot of key things that you need to pay attention to in fights, and that's the cues and stuff. So say for example, who was it? Jake Paul and that UFC fighter, I can't remember his name.
Ben Askren.
No.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley literally dropped his hand, and that's how he got knocked out. Like, how do you drop your hand in an open punch like that?
Do you think Tyson's going to take a punch to get knocked out, or what are you guys' predictions on the fight?
I think it's to be like the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather go out to a draw.
Yeah,
I don't think Tyson's taking that L.
Both get some
Just
shots.
a lot of dancing around.
Yeah, everybody gets some shots here and there.
I think Tyson's gonna be punching at like 65%. He's not gonna be going. He's not gonna throw haymakers or anything.
You still can't make or change the fact that he hasn't done anything. I mean, really, Tyson of substance. I mean, I know people are going to say, well, he's Mike Tyson. You know, he can still go out there, but I still think.
How many rounds is it? A regular 15 round, 10? What is it?
Well, 12 is now. 12 is a regular fight, but I would highly doubt this will be 12.
Because Tyson's fights normally didn't go longer than like 2 or 3 rounds when he was.
No, the only ones that went, I think, the distance were Razor Ruddock. And before the first Holyfield fight, I think he went to the 10th.
Douglas too, right? Didn't Douglas last?
Yeah, Douglas was to the 10th. I think it was the 9th or 10th. Yeah, Douglas, which is actually there's a wrestling tie-in because originally Mike Tyson was supposed to be the special guest referee for Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage for the WWF title, Saturday night's main event. But what happened the week prior was Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, and Buster Douglas was the special referee where Hogan defeated Savage, so that's kind of a little wrestling tie-in. But yeah, I mean, I think when Tyson and Jones fought, what was it, 8 rounds, if I'm not mistaken? I don't think it was 12 rounds. It was definitely not a 12. I actually watched that fight. I don't think it was 12 rounds, but yeah, regular boxing fight is 12 rounds. I mean, you know, I don't see how those guys are going to go 12 rounds. I just
well, especially Tyson. I mean, like you said, 57.
I don't even know.
He'd go 12 rounds when he was 27.
I don't even know if because it happens a lot in wrestling, and these guys will know what I'm talking about. An athletic commission would even clear Tyson to have a real fight. If you really think about it, would a state athletic commission clear a 57-year-old to go out there and fight?
I mean, they do it with Ric Flair.
But here's the difference. Ric Flair though was in a mixed tag team, a tag team match, I should say. And Ric Flair, on top of that, you know, he was still wrestling relatively. Contrived match.
What about Mae Young? Go back a few years, right? How old was Mae Young when she was wrestling?
800.
Yeah, 800. So money toss. Right?
What about Sting? Sting just retired at the what age was he?
64.
Yeah.
64.
Wow. He looked great for 64. I mean,
he looked phenomenal. I mean, he looked like.
For 64.
So I mean,
Jesus.
I don't really think
Tyson, you don't think there'll be a problem. He'll be clear.
No,
it'll be a real fight.
I mean, if Sting's out there like doing what he's doing still today, I mean, Mike Tyson can get in there and beat the shit out of Jake Paul. So
I still think Jake Paul at 27's got a good shot at Mike Tyson. I don't know what it is, but I'm just saying it's
you better have moves because if Tyson catches him, it's over.
Yeah, don't let him get trapped in a corner with Tyson, dude.
You know, I got an idea. You know, obviously, you know, we had the wrestling guys come on earlier tonight. We had certainly TBK and the coach, Chris Craven. Randy's kind of with the wrestling guys before I get into other sports. But, you know, this Tyson-Paul fight that's coming in, maybe it should be like a wager or something between the regular guys here and the wrestling guys. And if the regular guys win, I'll give the regular guys, you know, some bragging rights over the wrestling guys. And if the wrestling guys, maybe that's what it should be. Maybe something like that. Because, you know, we are thinking about different things to kind of see now that we've got the wrestling guys in the first hour and the sports guys like we have here in the second hour. You know, what maybe we got to give something, or I have to maybe use the Tyson-Paul fight in a way. You know, I don't know. What do you guys all think about that? Because we got some guys here who are the regular guys here, I should say.
I just don't know what to think of it because I don't know if it's going to be real, if it's going to be fake. You know, I don't know.
Well, Tyson Jones, that was not really a real fight. I watched it, and it was not a real fight. It was great because it was during COVID. There was nothing going on. It was like, yeah. But in terms of an actual fight, I don't know. I'm still skeptical on that. I'm as skeptical as trying to get through a $2 steak.
Yeah, it's hard to believe any of Jake's fights, man. Like, it's not that he doesn't look like a great boxer, because he does look like a good boxer, and he's got the age, like you said, he's in shape, he looks great, but he's a YouTuber. You know what I mean? I'm always going to fall back to that.
I want to ask you, this is for anybody here. You know, it's kind of a fun topic to ask, and we'll get into the regular sports in a second, but isn't it tell you about the state of boxing that we're talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? I mean,
right.
You know, I've covered boxing on Sportswire. I've interviewed, actually, true story, I've actually interviewed a woman in Australia, Susie Ramadan, who is considered the female version of Mike Tyson in Australia. Arv Mitu is a friend of mine who's the first black British boxer, or actually the first black boxer altogether that fought 100 times. But, you know, isn't that tell you that the state of boxing really is what it is, where we're talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson rather than somebody else? Doesn't that say something to that for you, everybody in the room?
Didn't Francis Ngannou get knocked out tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
But
like, even that, like, that doesn't get I see what he's saying. He doesn't get as much hype as Tyson and Paul, because the name
you're on
sell,
Twitter, all Twitter talked about was for 2 days was Tyson Paul.
Right.
Ngannou is, you know, one of the best fighters in the world, and didn't draw the same gravity, didn't draw the same engagements.
You know what? It should.
I didn't know. I didn't even know he was fighting tonight until I saw the notification pop up saying he got knocked out. That's crazy.
I think you know what boxing needs. Boxing needs one of the boxers to start dating Taylor Swift.
There you go.
That would solve all their issues.
There you go.
Maybe that should do. Well, doesn't she usually go through the guys like in a year or two ratio? Because she's with this guy Kelsey, right? Got Travis Kelsey. I think it's been 6 months now. So usually
it's getting up there.
A year or two. So then she'll move on to somebody else. I mean, so maybe she wants to go into fighters. I mean, you know, maybe that's the way to
Never
go.
know.
I don't know. That's an interesting take. But if you
really
are
never know now, man.
Well, if you are on Sportswire Radio, we're actually mixing it up here. And by the way, I want to thank everybody on Twitter. I have like 45 people watching us on Twitter. So thank you to people. I guess apparently the new change in attitude with the TSF takes guys and talking different things seems like the wrestling guys might be, you know, sort of having to backtrack some of the things they said, because I got 50 people right now watching us all around the world. So thank you to everybody out there on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm here with some of my guys. That is Rob Marasco, Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer, longest tenured analyst. Chris Pizzea, co-host of the Talking Rivals and the Liftoff Show. I was hearing the Talking Rivals throughout the week. Really enjoyed their talk on spring training, and I'm still trying to get into spring training, and I'm not really working into it right now.
Come on.
I'm trying. When I get to opening day, I'll be into it, but I just can't get into spring training right now. But I'll be there. But Chris is obviously doing a great job for us. He's also a Hall of Famer. Joined here by Scooby Stoney, here, New York Jets fan, but not from New York. He is from the TSF Takes group. Really enjoying him here. Looking forward to having him every Friday night. Some guy I used to know, but I'm going to see him now, is Shane. It's your boy Shane. He's a great streamer on Twitch, and you know, I know him from somewhere else. I thought I did. And a guy that's certainly got some brand new music out there. He's always changing lanes. He's always looking for that dinero, almost like that guy from Goodfellas. We are talking about recording artist and also football sports analyst, the one and only Sad Boy. And these guys that look like these two guys are going to join Rob Marasco and Chris Pizzea in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame Sunday night. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, where Sportswire Radio is all sports that matter. We are a new banner here. Well, it's old banner, but the new banner, because the wrestling banner has been up for weeks. But you can actually check us out anytime on sportswireradio.org. Also, check us out on YouTube. Closing in on 600 subscribers, by the way. We're just about there. So I remember it was 500 last month. Oh, my God. We're at 500, and we're getting to 600 quicker than it took us to get to 500. So I've had people message me from around the world saying, wow, you know, Sportswire is getting bigger. So hopefully it gets as big as I see Shane as a mountain in real life, and we'll continue to keep going. So it's a good thing, because you're really as tall as a mountain, because I've actually seen you in real life, you know, well, at least that person that looked like you. So it's actually a compliment, by the way. So I just want to let you know. But I thought you'd laugh. So obviously, we're going to talk about some different things here throughout the show. And so you guys, do you guys cover baseball? Because I got Rob Moroska here, a big baseball guy, Chris Pizzea, a baseball guy, Scooby Stoney, and Sad Boy. Do you guys cover baseball with the TSF takes?
I'm not a baseball guy.
I'm not a baseball guy either, but the greatest thing about TSF Takes is that we have people who cover all sports. Our baseball guys not on here right now, but on the TikTok, on the Instagram, the Twitter, we'll be doing some baseball stuff. But myself personally, I'm not a big baseball fan, so I really
Why
don't.
is that? Why weren't you into baseball? I'll get to Shane in a second.
I guess it's just because I really didn't grow up playing baseball. I was more of a football guy. I really just fell in love with the game of football, and a lot of people did 3 or 4 sports growing up. I didn't. I stuck with football, and that's the only thing that I really
you technically did another sport though, also.
Technically, yeah, I did. Technically.
You want to say something, Shane? Because you're our boy here.
I mean, I'm kind of into baseball.
What team are you into baseball then? For what team are you into?
I was when I was a kid, I was a big New York Yankees fan.
Oh wow, boy, Rob Moroska's gonna hate you, but Chris Pizzea is a huge Yankees fan.
But growing up, I did develop a big liking for the Braves.
Right. Well, Tennessee, I could see that. I could see
Yeah.
that. The Braves have been good. I could see that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I'm not really big on names, but I know the concept of the game.
Oh, you know the concept of the game. Oh, that's really, that's good to know. You know the concept of the game of baseball. It's always good to know that you know the concept of the game. Yeah, that's good. You know what we should actually do. Now I think did I hear college basketball? Because hockey I'll get into in a minute because I know Scooby's a hockey guy. I want to get Scooby's thoughts on the NHL trade deadline. But do we have college basketball guys here?
I watch a little bit here and there.
I'm more college football.
Okay, so we could actually, we could also do a March Madness if people want to do a March Madness pool. We could do that for fun, If Obama could pick one years ago, why can't we pick one on Sportswire? There you go.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Oh my God, I don't know anybody who's actually ever won and got their pick and their whole thing. That's one of the hardest things to do is pick the college.
Picking the whole thing is impossible, but even just picking who's going to win is tough. It's just there's so many good teams. All different conferences. There's so many good teams, and when it gets to March Madness, all it takes is one crazy shot, one game to fall your way,
changes your whole bracket.
And it just starts rolling.
Yeah,
starts rolling.
I mean, it's funny with college basketball. There's so many college when you talk about the NFL, right? Talk about Major League Baseball, the NBA, even right, the NHL. There's like 30 teams, 31 or 32 teams, so you can kind of basically hone in on, let's say, 6 teams, right? If you're locally in your particular region, maybe it's 8 teams or 4 teams, right? But in college basketball, you're talking about 68 teams now. And realistically, 40 to 50 of those teams are like really good teams. And it's hard to keep up and watch all of it. And this
they
is
let everybody in. They let everybody in.
Yeah, I mean, and this is coming from a guy that's covered Division III basketball for 5 years. And to sit there and watch all these teams, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people. Maybe Sad Boy will change lanes and do that for us.
Yeah, I college basketball. I never really watched college basketball. I had a friend who's a big Tar Heels fan, so I guess I'll root for the Tar Heels. But other than that, I really don't watch it.
Okay, fair enough. I can understand that. And you want to say something, Shane, or you had something funny to think about? No, nothing to say.
Nope.
Okay, well, there's 57 people watching right now, actually live. So I mean, people might actually. It's a lot of people. Yeah, so I thought maybe you wanted to say something. I'm going to let Rob Moroska speak for a few minutes. I know, Rob, you give me the baseball update because I know some of these guys will come. Let them work back into football. But give me what's on your mind in baseball right now. We'll let the guys come back in for football in a few minutes.
You know what's on my mind? Zach Wheeler's new contract extension and how the Mets made that was just a big mistake letting Wheeler get away, okay, especially now to the Phillies. He's got that 3-year extension, 126 million, 40
a lot of money. It's a lot of dinero, to quote Sad Boy's latest song.
Okay, the highest in not only Philly but Major League Baseball among extension contracts. Okay,
$42 million a year for a guy that's probably at best a number 2 starter, right?
No, well, this year he would probably be depending on Senga number, one for the Mets. You know, if you
Right,
wanna
but on a team
Yeah.
that's really good, he's a number 2
Yes.
starter. Is my point.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. They should have never let him go. Then the other thing is with the Dodgers, Mookie Betts is going to play shortstop now.
And let me just say something.
Sure,
That is,
jump in.
I don't think fans, anybody, talk about what Mookie Betts does defensively enough, because this guy went from playing second base,
To a
playing the
different
right
position.
field. Now he's playing shortstop, and he goes to these positions and with ease. That's not easy to do, to go from second short to the outfield, back to short. It's just unreal what that guy's doing. It's not normal, and it just
Only a
doesn't get
few
enough
guys.
credit what he's doing.
Only I think Robin Yount's done it before. You know, went from the outfield to the infield.
He went from short to the outfield.
Yep.
Hey, Mookie Betts is it's you know, as a starter, Chris, too. It's amazing.
Right.
You know,
Right.
he's not a utility guy. This is just now he's the Dodgers.
Very good start. I mean, this
shortstop.
guy's one of the best players in all of baseball.
And that's
It's crazy.
Gavin Lux can't throw the ball. You know, he's having a lot of problems throwing the ball. So Mookie Betts has to come in as shortstop. It's just, you're right, Chris. He's just amazing. He's amazing.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy that good do it that good. You know what I mean? Like, how many superstar players go from, because he was originally a second baseman, then he went to right field. Then he played a little bit at the infield last year with the
Craig
with the Dodgers.
Biggio was another one. Did catcher, outfield,
Biggio
second
caught,
base.
yeah. Then second,
Biggio.
then outfield, right? Or outfield, then second, whatever. But you're talking about shortstop is probably the toughest position to play. You know, not physically, you know, like catcher but I mean,
And Ripken moved around a few positions in the infield, but not to the degree of, I think, what Rob's trying to say.
Yeah, and he's a star. Like I said, Mookie Betts is like an MVP candidate every year.
Oh, for
and
sure.
For him to be doing this, it just makes it even more.
He's going to wind
amazing.
up going into Cooperstown at the rate of his career.
He's definitely going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
And I want to ask you guys still again, and I want to ask the football and hockey guys in a comparison to this, but still no moves on Blake Snell. I mean, what is this guy waiting for?
More money, I guess, right? I don't know.
But I mean, today is March 8th, going into March 9th. I mean, you're talking about opening day, the real opening day, not the soft opening day. But the real opening day is less than 3 weeks from now. What do you expect?
Won't be ready. If he signed today,
That's what I said last week on the show. I mean, it's almost realistic, or 2 weeks ago on the show. There's almost no point that he could even, come.
Yeah, it sucks because he's not going to be ready. Montgomery as well. I mean, these guys aren't going to be ready for opening day. And then even when they do get ready, Rob, like when a player misses, spring training, they're just never the same throughout the season. So I think these are lost seasons for those guys.
Yeah, it usually affects their whole season. You know, you're going to see them get knocked around.
Well, what's the value then at this point of Snell holding out as long as he has? Essentially, this is a holdout. I mean, legitimate without a team, it's a holdout.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any advantage. There's no advantage to it now. I mean, now he's at the point where. And I think it's to the point where nobody's even offering anything, right? Because
has that ever, in general in sports, has that ever happened before where a guy that was an MVP or a Cy Young winner, in all the major sports, does that happen before where the guy doesn't start the season or doesn't have a team? I don't know if that's ever happened before in any of the major
with
sports.
Football a few years ago with Le'Veon Bell, he set out the whole season because he didn't want to play on the franchise tag, right?
But was Le'Veon Bell the prior season like the rushing champ or the MVP? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
He came off a really good season. He didn't win the MVP, obviously.
Right. Well, and I think that's the comparison here is Snell was the guy that won the Cy Young. And in his sports history, I'm just thinking about it, aside from a retirement, like, has there ever been a player that led the league in a category, a significant one, not play or start the season? I just think that's really interesting. That's an interesting topic for people.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Twitter's not even mentioned that, because Twitter mentions everything. I mean, I just find that fascinating about Snell, and there's almost no reason for a team at this point to want to bring him in. Let me ask the football guys this question. I'll circle it back to baseball. For the football guys here, Scooby and certainly Sad Boy, baseball's off season is nowhere near as interesting as football's off season. From your vantage point, just as football guys, what does baseball need to do in order to improve their off season to make it more interesting? If there was anything you would say, well, why is the NFL so much interesting when we talk about the NFL's year? Whereas this year's baseball off season for the baseball guys, and I am a baseball guy at heart, baseball's off season was abominable. I mean, we were like scratching for things to talk about. Even now, I'm like, I'll get into the baseball season on opening day, but it's taken me a long time this year. Like, what would you as football guys recommend?
Honestly, the thing that I see a lot in football is that these players will start having a big head, or like the whole Aaron Rodgers situation that happened a couple of years ago, when Aaron, almost held out for as long as he could. You have these, larger than life personas in the NFL. I feel like the NFL is more of a, I guess you could say, like a swaggy sport. You see a lot of swag in the NFL. It gets a lot of attention drawn to it.
And some divas.
Yeah.
But baseball has some of that. I mean, there's some of that in baseball. Some.
I mean, it's facts, but I don't know. There's something about the NFL offseason. It seems like you already know people's going to jump around. Teams are going to look a lot different going into next year. There's a lot more moving parts, especially with the draft. A lot of here in the past couple of years, especially, teams will make these huge packages in the draft and do a draft night trade.
Well, the timing of the football draft is 2 months after the Super Bowl, whereas baseball's draft, as an example, is in the middle of the season. I mean, should we change the baseball draft to be in December, November? I mean, would that help?
I didn't even know the baseball draft was in the season.
Baseball's has always been in the end of June or in the middle of June, which is kind of the reason that is, I think, is that for most places across the country, if you're a high school senior, your high school season or you graduate in May. Now, we're here as New Yorkers, we would have to wait until the end of June because that was, quote unquote, when summer started. We would have to wait till our school year would end in the end of June, but across the country, you guys would end in May. So I think baseball's draft has always been historically after the high school baseball season. But, maybe if the high school, maybe they would accommodate things to have the baseball draft pushed back a few months. Maybe that would, do something. I don't know. I'm just thinking
I could see him even implement the whole NBA thing, the one and done. Do a one and done year in college. I think that would make things a little bit more interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, the problem though is that college baseball guys versus college basketball guys. I mean, you're a college basketball player, right? And you don't even have to follow basketball to know this. Automatically, you're getting a big payday. Whereas you're a college baseball player. Realistically, it's always kind of been that you play college baseball and you're really not. You're waiting to get drafted. If you're a 4-year college baseball player, you're not going, I'm going to play one great year and go to the draft. Usually, if you're in college, you're playing the full 3 to 4 years in baseball in the hopes that you get drafted. Now, if you're a great player in high school, you're being recruited. You want to say something about that, Chris? You want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the guys leave early in baseball, in college, and even high school too.
Well, high school, obviously. I mean, if you're high school, you graduate.
But yeah, college, it depends. Like some of them, I think the majority do go the 4 years, but some of them do leave early. Depends on how good they really are that early. If they're already at that point where they're mastering college and they're just killing it that first year, their freshman year, I'm sure scouts tell him, and his agent probably says, "Listen, you enter the draft now. You're probably going to be in the pros in 2 years."
So let me ask the baseball guys before I come back into the rest of the guys. This baseball offseason was pitiful. Is there anything you guys would like to see to spark interest? Because Sad Boy makes a good point. We spoke about this on the show last week, that the NFL has become an all year round sport. They got the draft right after the season. They've got free agency, whereas baseball, it's like it's pulling teeth. Is there anything you guys would like to see?
Usually, especially in New York, baseball was always all year round. If you turn on,
baseball still is. It just it was not a good off season to talk about.
it's just the off season. This off season was bad. Last year, remember, the off season was we had DeGrom. What was going to happen to DeGrom? Judge. Remember, the Giants were going after Judge. What was going to go on with Judge? Verlander. The Mets signed saying,
Yeah, but
you know,
baseball, yes, New York, it was great, but the whole league, it's still, wasn't like, okay, we're going to have Soto and Alonso. Okay, so we're going to have the same talk next year. But for the league as a whole, the general point is it doesn't have the same enthusiasm that football has or basketball has. And I was just curious, is there a way to do anything about that? I'm just talking out loud.
Shorten it, probably just shorten it like we've been talking about, because as you can see, it's just dragging on.
Yeah, have like a set, a set time for it.
Did you want to say something, Shane? Do you want to bring something up, Shane? Okay, you were going to say something. All right, but there has to be something.
I don't know what else to do. I would set up a time frame. Like, okay, if the World Series ends this date, then November 15th. That's when free agency starts, and then it ends right before the new year or something. I don't know. I really don't know how they could fix it, to be honest.
All right. For you, Rob, before I come back to Scooby, because Scooby's a hockey guy, and I'm curious on what his hockey takes are. Anything else baseball-wise you've been watching as we're getting closer to opening day?
Yeah, I just want to say this to Chris. Chris, you know what? The Yankees look really good. You got to be excited. I saw that.
Well, Soto, I mean, everybody. Yeah. I listened to the Pinstripe Chronicles, which are on our internet radio station, and they have just been jumping up and down about Soto and Judge, and they're really excited. I think Bobby's quote was, he doesn't call himself Bobby anymore. It's Uncle Tats, and he was saying that this team's going to be really good this year. He's just been so jumping up and down.
It's going to come down to health, right? I mean, if these guys stay healthy, if Judge stays healthy for a full season playing with Soto, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? This guy hit 62 on his own. Yep. Can you imagine if he has, Juan Soto sitting, batting either in front of him?
You gotta be forced to pitch to these guys. Again,
someone's gonna get pitched to. If you walk Soto, okay, pitch to Judge or vice versa.
And I hate to throw him out there. You still got Stanton,
right? Well, we'll see how he shapes up this year.
Home runs. I mean, he's always a home run guy.
The good thing with Stanton is that whatever he gives you this year is a bonus. Like this year is not depending on what Stanton does. Like whatever Stanton does, it's a bonus because the lineup is so loaded right now and they have depth for the first time in a couple of years that they actually have a really good lineup. Their rotation's solid, but again, it's got to stay healthy, because we've seen these guys get hurt. If Judge doesn't run into the wall last year, they probably make the playoffs. I'm not saying they get to the World Series.
That was a big topic on last year's show. Is if you had Judge in the lineup and he missed 50 games last year, you're probably talking about a team.
And Rizzo,
and Rizzo's in a walk year, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. So
there's about 5 or 6 guys, key guys, that are in walk years, right? That's Rizzo.
And you guys were talking about LeMahieu on the show with the Talking Rivals. You were talking about basically his second half, and he gives you a second half rather than the first half. That's another guy. So there's a lot of depth in the Yankee lineup that, basically you're going to have to figure out who to pitch around to.
The good thing that there's a good mix, right? But there's also, you got guys playing for contracts. You got Rizzo, Torres, Soto, Verdugo, all on contract years. Right?
Verdugo was a nice move for the Yankees. Yeah, that was a nice move for the Yankees. I think you and Patrick were talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys playing for contracts, so that's a great thing to have. But again, it's all about health. I think if the Yankees stay healthy, they'll be in it at the end, and hopefully they'll get to the World Series and win it.
Now, before we move on to a few things, now Tristan Johnson, hello there. Can the guys in the TSF Takes group tell us Tristan Johnson and his importance?
That is Big T right there. That's
Big T. Next week, you better be with us on Sportswire. That's what we got to say, so we can get that dinero.
That's the guy right there. He talks about football, basketball, UFC, golf. I mean, he
I gotta be honest, golf. I don't know if I can get into golf on Sportswire. Maybe Justin Gianelli, who's with us, can say, "Well,
Great,
we can obviously get into it." I can't get into golf. I did have a godfather of mine who used to play every Wednesday. He would go out to Long Island and he would play golf. And I tried and I couldn't get into it, unfortunately. So I am not really a golf guy. But somebody else wants to say Lions go blue. Now, is this somebody else from the group?
Yep, that's DK.
Another person that we maybe should see on here Friday nights, a big Lions guy, which is good because, on Sportzwire, I don't know if you guys knew this, but kind of our adopted team was the Detroit Lions because we were a couple of years back when the Lions were bad, we were kind of rooting for them. And then we saw them get this close and, hopefully they could kind of recover a little bit and, keep to where they are in the NFC North. And
they're on the way up.
Hopefully
they're on the way up.
One of the favorites next year.
I don't know, man. The Packers are going to be good, and you got the Bears, by the way. I think the Bears
The Bears are on the way up.
I think that division very well could be one of the toughest divisions around because Minnesota, despite what everybody can say about Kirk Cousins, they were a 13-win team 2 years ago.
Yeah, Captain
Mid himself. Quarterback.
But the point is, all four of those
Captain
teams are not
Mid.
separated. They're not separated by that many games now. They're not.
Nah. I'm really surprised we made the playoffs this year, honestly.
I think that those four teams, it's going to be, I would say, Detroit won 12 this year. The winner of that division next year could be 10.
Honestly, I think the same thing.
I think the gap between
Detroit looks good, man. They're
Yeah,
just
Detroit
getting better.
I don't know about.
But
You still got question marks with Chicago because even if they draft, Caleb Williams, is he going to come in and perform? You don't know what he's going to do. You really don't know.
I still think they were better in the second half. Like, what were they? 5-4 their last 9 games. They were better.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is out pretty good amount last year as well.
And he had some
They
big
have Justin
games in the
Fields the whole
second half.
year.
You got Green
I don't
Bay.
want them to give up on Fields. That last bit of winning they had, that last half of the season,
I agree.
it was enough. I needed to
And
see.
I'll tell you what, that saved their coach's job.
Yep.
Regardless of
saved their
who
job.
has the number 1 overall pick this year, whether or not the Bears traded or not, I'm not taking Caleb Williams in the top 5. That dude's attitude is crap, man. I don't care how good you
Almost
are.
like some
His
guys
attitude is
that look like
crap.
you, and that almost reminds me of two guys that look like you in locker rooms you worked with.
Yeah, that one dude was a sore
about that
loser.
Yeah, that guy,
No
Caleb
comment.
Williams, man. I mean, I know he's the guy this year. He's the guy everybody's clamoring over.
Let me get to Big T's comments. He's got some comments, and we'll hang out for a little while longer. We'll see you next week. Thank you for that. Coach Campbell will live and learn. Mistakes like that in the NFC Championship are luckily the easiest fix than anything on field. Is it, though? You got to get back, though. Isn't the point in sports? Doesn't matter what sport you're in.
I think they'll get back. I just think Dan Campbell, that's how he coaches. That's how he got to the NFC Championship game.
He's a gambler.
He's
He's a gambler.
So
And
I
that's
think
their
he's not gonna
culture.
change.
I don't think I'm with you. I don't think they change one
No,
bit.
I don't.
That's their culture. That's what he's made the Lions off of, and they're gonna stick with it. It won them so many games throughout
But
the
my
season.
point was about that division. Again, I want the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl if it was up to me. Well, maybe not. Maybe the Jets could win it. But the
There
point
we
is,
go.
but you don't
Yeah, that's a
get
little-
there at least. But the point is that the Vikings won 13 games 2 years ago. Green Bay beat Dallas and won a playoff game, and Jordan Love looked great in the second half. Chicago had a good second half, and they got draft picks. So Detroit was great, but I don't think it's going to be as easy for them to get back to the NFC Championship game as it was because everything kind of
Definitely
fell
not.
into place. Look at
And
the
you know what?
NFC. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree. And you know what? Detroit's going to have a mark on their back now, too.
Yeah, because now they've gotten there. Now
Right. They're not the
hunter.
underdog team, that tough little underdog. No. They're they're up there with the 49ers now. They're the number 1, number 2
All right,
team in the whole
speaking of
NFC.
49ers, real quick, I got to ask this question, and anybody can answer it if they want. With the 49ers, how many times do you keep getting back to the well and you have to win it? Because you keep getting there and you don't – because think about it, right? It's now 2 Super Bowl appearances. You got 4 championship games in 5 years, and yet you got nothing to show for it.
Don't look any further than their head coach, right?
Kyle Shanahan. Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan.
I'm asking the question
he got
here.
to San Fran, he was the OC with Atlanta when they choked in the playoffs against the Patriots when they were up 28-3,
This is actually
right?
the first, believe it, this is the first time on Sportswire they're actually talking about the aftermath of the Super Bowl because I don't think anybody wants to talk about it after Taylor was up there and, with Travis. But, the truth is,
It didn't bother me. I really don't care. That wasn't part of the game. So
okay,
but
well,
I just
actually
think it starts with the head coach with that team. It starts with Kyle Shanahan.
So
he's got to be the one that's going to
So
win.
let me ask you this question. This is a totally unfair question, and I don't even think you and Sharman have talked about this on your podcast. Is he on the hot seat?
No, I don't think he's in the hot seat. But here's the thing: you don't go into a Super Bowl against a team like the Chiefs. And that second half, you have Christian McCaffrey, arguably the best running back in the NFL. You have one of the best offensive lines. You have the best run blocking tight end, and you can't have better clock management than that. The clock management with the Niners has always been freaking
I said
horrible.
that. Dude, watching the game, I was saying, I'm like, why are they not using McCaffrey in that second half?
They went away from what worked in the first half. They were up by 10. Everything
right, and they had Kansas City on the ropes. And this is where I compared Kansas City with a team like the Jets. Kansas City does not rotate their defensive line like the Jets do, right? So those guys were getting tired in the third quarter. They were starting to reel a little bit. That's when you start pounding them with the running game with McCaffrey, and they didn't do it. They're looking for the home run ball, and they should have been just grinding that game out, and they could have just destroyed the 49ers in that. They could have grinded them out.
That's my thing with the 49ers, too.
And how about this? They kept giving Kansas City the ball back.
Yep.
Right.
The ball back.
And that costly turnover, that stupid turnover.
But and also on top of that, you weren't getting you were only getting field goals, so you were giving a Chiefs team plenty of ammo to come back. Big T says Shanahan's absolutely not on the hot seat, but I wanted to ask this because you do think about it though. Don't you have to win the big one though at some point because your window doesn't stay forever?
That's true, but you got to think about the pros and the cons. How good have they done?
The Yankees, everybody talks about Boone, but in football with Shanahan, it's 4 championship games and 2 Super Bowls. He's got no show for it.
Listen, Andy Reid, before he won 3 Super Bowls, I mean,
he was on the hot
seat. He couldn't get over the hump.
Eventually, he'll get there. I don't know if he'll get there yet, but I agree. He's basically Andy Reid when he was with Philly. Right, and eventually,
the Eagles made the move though. They eventually parted ways with him though,
and that might happen with Sanford. I don't know if it'll happen this year, unless they don't make the playoffs, which I doubt.
Well, I think they'd
have to really fall on their face.
I would be shocked if the 49ers didn't make the playoffs.
He would have to really or get a quick knockout in the. If he gets knocked out in the first round, maybe.
I'm still surprised Mike McCarthy came back.
That's a surprise.
That dude. I'm so glad we got rid of him.
He's got some film or something on
God.
Jones, maybe.
No, Mike McCarthy's like a leech.
Craven would have loved if you said that. He would be like, "What? Say what now?" But no, I mean, I'm really surprised. That McCarthy's back, especially when that Cowboys team. It was almost like it was rolled out for them in a way that they could legitimately actually go deep into the playoffs. I mean, the way the NFC broke this year, they should have.
Listen, there's a hex put on the Cowboys or something against the Packers because we were like 10-1 against them in the past 10 years. Man, they seem to not be able to beat us in the playoffs.
Dallas has not been to an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl in nearly 30 years. If we're supposed to be America's team, that'd be like if the Yankees had gone 30 years without winning a World Series. Now it's been 14.
And you know what? And Dallas is always the most hyped team coming into the season.
They get the most on prime time. They're on
every
year, games, and they do nothing.
The same thing. They
are good. They are good.
But they're not that good.
In the postseason,
You're right. You're right.
They're good, but they're not
12
San Fran good or Detroit
12 wins almost every year. You know what I mean?
I think that, and we'll say goodbye, Shane. Shane, we'll see you on Sunday. Obviously, he's really maybe bored with the conversation, but the point is that I think Dallas has won the most games in the league the last 3 years and has one playoff win. Did you see that stat?
Yeah.
They've won 36 games the last 3 years and have one playoff win. That's embarrassing.
And see, think about Dallas and then think about San Francisco. San Francisco, they're not getting to this point and not winning playoff games. Like they're getting.
No. It's a matter of getting.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. It's getting that one game, and
it's kind of like
sadly the past two have been Patrick Mahomes.
It's like in baseball before the Braves won the World Series. The Braves kept getting there. Now they have to go to the Dodgers. The Dodgers kept getting to the World Series. They kept getting to the playoffs, but now you have to win it. The 49ers are at a point where it's no more. Okay, getting to the NFC Championship game is great. You got to win the big one, and I'm just kind of talking out loud because in sports, we see it all the time. Like I mentioned, in baseball with the Yankees, Boone's always on the hot seat, and we always want to win. It's not just about getting to a championship game. Yeah.
Tom, it's like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the Bills 4 Super Bowls in a row. ESPN 30 for 30, and the 4.
At least they got to the Super Bowl. The Cowboys, they're not even winning playoff games.
But you could make the comparison of the 49ers to the Bills.
Yes, to the Bills.
I think that's what his point is, because 49ers have had 2 Super Bowls in 5 years and 4 championship games. Nothing. The Bills had the 4 Super Bowls, and they actually had 5 championship game appearances in 6 years because they lost to Cincinnati in '88. So you had 88 to 93. You had 4 Super Bowls and 5 championship game appearances. San Francisco, in these 5 years, 4 championship game appearances, 2 Super Bowls, nothing to show for it. I think that's, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they're a bad franchise, but,
I think it's just really respectable how, like, when you're at 49ers and you're watching the 49ers.
I know for Jet guys here like us, well, we kill for 1 Super Bowl appearance,
No, definitely. But, like, you think about how dominant they are. You know what I mean? Like, throughout the season,
for sure.
They are dominant.
Other than what, the Baltimore game on Christmas night?
And that's what I'm about to get to. If you can make a game scrappy with them, you can stop their run up just a little bit, then they're vulnerable. But outside of that, think of how easy, which I'm going to give respect to Kyle Shanahan for it, football looks for them. Football looks easy for them 80 to 90% of the season. And then you struggle with teams that make it scrappy with you. That's doable. That's livable. The Cowboys, that's a different story.
It's not that
How
good.
about the 2 games that they were in scrappy fights? Cleveland, and then the Christmas Day against the Ravens. Leave aside the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, but those 2 games come to mind against 2 teams that punched them in the mouth.
And the Raiders, too. They lost to the Raiders, didn't they, this year?
Was it the Rams, I thought?
The Chiefs?
Oh, the Chiefs did. Yeah, the Chiefs did. The 49ers we were talking about. Yeah,
right.
the Chiefs.
49ers,
Chiefs lost to the Raiders also on Christmas.
Yeah,
the Chiefs. The Chiefs sleptwalked into the playoffs. Let's be honest. The Chiefs were really like.
Yeah, nobody was expecting them to win it this year.
And let me get to Big T, because Big T wants to say something. By the way, 60 people watching us right now. So apparently people like the TSF takes, guys. I don't know what you guys did, but 49ers window is closing. Don't forget the injury. Yep.
Throwing that out there.
Well, could be. You know what? It could be. You know what? Coach and TBK will have to go back to the drawing board next week. But terrible impact on the secondary. Greenlaw's injury was strangely a turn of momentum foe for the Chiefs. Just bad luck. Also, Aiden O'Connell had an incredible game on the Chiefs secondary. That's a good point. I had heard that during the and after the game itself. So, okay, 49ers windows closing. All right, fair enough. I wanted to ask before we move on to closing thoughts. And by the way, hopefully you guys want to join us on Friday nights. Hopefully, if you guys aren't doing anything, Mr. TFF takes, for you guys. Yeah. Hopefully. Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. We could always use more company. But I know you were a hockey guy, you said, Scooby, and you were following the NHL. And I'm curious, what is your team?
Rangers, all the way.
Oh, well, one of us is Rangers and 2 of us are Islander fans. In fact, I had season tickets. So I'll ask you real quick, what did you think of the trade deadline, and what do you think of the Rangers then this year, being a Rangers guy? Do you think they have a chance to finally win a Stanley Cup?
I think it's a dream, you know what I mean? But and they're definitely in the mix to
They're in the
win
mix.
it. But as far as getting it all the way done, I don't know if I've seen like that. But they got great streaks going this year. They look hot. They can get hot, which is what you really want when you get to the playoffs in hockey. You just got to be
great, and they got a great.
Get hot.
How about a great backup goaltender, by the way?
Yeah, they got the goalies. They got the goalies to do it, man.
He's a great backup goaltender who's won a couple of Stanley Cups.
He is. He's very good. Yeah.
That's always
look at Bobrovsky, the guy on the Panthers. You know what I mean? He's
Bob.
On one day he's the best goalie in the world. The next day he's not.
I watched him. I always go back with Bob real quick. I watched him when
they're good.
I watched him once. It was an Islanders Lightning game, maybe about 6 years ago, and he gave up like 7 goals, and it was like 5 softies. I remember, I never forget it. I was at the game, and it was like, okay, this is the guy that's supposed to be a Stanley Cup winner, and he's just so erratic, almost, Bobrovsky.
And then he gets into those modes like last playoffs where it just feels like he can't get scored on. That's how I feel about Jonathan Quick. He gets in these modes where it's just like you can't get it in the net.
But in this league, the Rangers, and again, I'm not a Rangers guy at all. I'm an Islander guy. But the facts are, in this league, if you have a backup goalie, and you can play them 25, 30 times is the rule of thumb. And a goalie like him, who's lost only 4 or 5 games with a goals against of 2, you could win. You could win it. Let me get to a couple of comments here from some.
This is our hockey guy right here.
Well, I'm glad because now you know what, I can work it in so that thanks to you guys boosting up viewership. Now I can go back to these things. The Nashville Predators, who I think are going to be lucky to make the playoffs. Hurricanes are another team that you have to wonder about their window, because this team they've had is 6 years and they still haven't got really that far. So you have to wonder about them and how much longer their window is. Another coach that you have to think, again, he won't be on the hot seat, but kind of the Kyle Shanahan comparison, where you've been to I think 1 conference final, maybe 2 conference finals, but you haven't quite gotten to the mountain yet.
They're scary, though. They're scary.
They're always scary.
You don't want to play them. You don't.
Oh, I wouldn't want to face them. Listen, I mean, the Islanders got beat twice in the last 5 years by them in the playoffs, so I wouldn't want anything.
And in the 7-game series, anything can happen in the playoffs. That's what's
speaking of which, the Florida Panthers made the playoffs the last day of the season, and look at how far they went. The Boston Bruins had this historic season last year. It was a guarantee. Everybody was on. Oh my God, they're going to win the Stanley Cup, and what happened? The Florida Panthers bounced them out in the first round. Toronto's had all these great teams in the regular season. They have 1 postseason victory in 20 years. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, really, right now. I mean,
and I fall for the Maple Leafs every time. Like, I was just talking to DK commenting in the chat the other day. Like, man, the Maple Leafs look good, man. But like,
they always look good though, because
you're right.
Offensively, they're just again, I've watched them so many times live. They're so fun to watch live, but then you get them in a postseason series, and you know what they are? I'll give you the comparison that some of the other people will know here. They're the Cowboys of the NHL.
That's what he just commented.
Oh, you know what?
Cowboys.
This is why we're gonna get this man on Sportswire next Friday. Yep,
there you go. That's so true.
Literally think about it. The Maple Leafs and Cowboys every year win so many games, right? But then they go to the playoffs, and what do? Nothing.
That's how I felt about the Rangers last year, man. It was tough playing against the Devils, but I mean, I hated it.
And you also have the sour taste in your mouth from blowing the 2-0 lead against the Lightning in the year prior in the conference finals.
Yep.
Don't know much about the NHL, but I like Seattle mainly for the colors. The Kraken, the Seattle Kraken.
There you go.
It is cool.
Cool jerseys.
It is cool.
Yeah,
everybody.
Jerseys are cool.
You don't meet one person that doesn't like it. It's the Kraken, and they got cool.
Yeah,
jerseys.
the Kraken. I gotta say the Kraken name is good, and the logo looks like, for whatever reason, the Sporting News. The Sporting. Remember the Sporting News? It kind of looks like the Sporting News. Yeah. All right, so NHL, Edmonton, obviously another team that's knocking on the door. Will they finally get over the hurdle? We'll see about that. Obviously, Colorado is out there. Islanders stand pat. Islanders are actually won 5 in a row going into tonight. Islanders are actually 2 points out of a playoff spot now. So maybe the Islanders are making a run. I don't know. Devils changed coaches. Lindy Ruff. I mean, Devils fans were calling for his head for weeks. They finally make the move. Just like the Islanders made the move, and Patrick Waugh's doing a good job. The Islanders are starting to play well offensively. You got the goaltending. I don't know if it's enough, even if you make the playoffs, to go into a run. But that's, like you said, I think Chris said it. The beauty of the NHL is, you go into a 7-game series, anything is possible. The Canadians in the COVID year made the Stanley Cup Finals. The Canadians. I mean, we've seen the Kings when they had Jonathan Quick. The Kings made the playoffs last day of the season, won the Stanley Cup. So we see this over and over and over again. Before I get to closing thoughts for anybody here in the room, is there anything else you guys want to mention or talk about in the world of sports from your vantage points? Anybody out there?
Not really. I'm gonna have to bounce out here.
Next week, free agency opens up in the NFL. Monday, the tampering opens up, so we're gonna get a lot of rumors on Monday where players are gonna possibly be going. But
we can talk a lot about that. We can bounce around.
Friday, we're gonna have a lot of.
Well, good news is now we can bounce around baseball. We can do football. We can bounce around the differences. Now we've got some new guys. And before I get to closing thoughts from the guys, you all have a good night. Chris and Rob, I look forward to talking sports with you guys. Yep, floor is open for you next Friday. Looking forward to that. And Tom, I appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to it. And also want to say, if you guys ever have any podcasts or anything like that You can always play it on our internet radio station. If you're here, we have a whole list of great shows, 24 hours a day. I program them. It's free of charge. We let anybody out there. I do it for the community to give sports guys an opportunity to be heard around the world. And if you have a podcast or any suggestions, you let me know and check us out anytime, sportswireradio.org via the Listen Live button. So great stuff there. I'm going to see some of the TSF Takes guys here Friday night. We're going to have some company. I'm looking forward to some company. So we got to move the chairs around, got to brighten things up a little bit. So the wrestling guys are now on defense now. Now the wrestling guys are on defense. So now we got the regular sports guys have gotten some help. It's almost like going to be like the A-team now on Sportswire. But let's get to closing thoughts. Sad boy, I know I'm going to see you Sunday night. But until then, let's change lanes and give you some closing thoughts and try to stay trendy with you.
Gotcha. Just do a quick little closing thoughts. You know,
Good.
TSF Takes will be posting daily on all platforms. We have Instagram.
Tag
YouTube.
me on them, by the way. Tag me on them.
We'll be Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Threads.
Tag me on all of them.
I mean, we're pretty much on everything.
Facebook too?
Not a Facebook yet, but I'm in the
YouTube,
process of making one. YouTube for sure. YouTube
okay,
for
tag
sure.
me on all. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Twitch. Tag me on all of them. I'm telling you right now.
This should be a pretty fun run, and can't wait to see you guys every Friday, man.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and head out here. I'll see you.
Go get some rest and tell Shane to see you Sunday. All right, let's go to closing thoughts here. I'm going to go with Rob Maraska next. Rob, I'm giving you the floor, and anything else you want to plug, share, or say. It looks like we're going to have some fun here once again Friday nights. We don't need the Brew Force. We basically went 4 for 1 almost now.
Who is that anyway? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question. And John Gonzalez said, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to get him back on. Well, you know what, John? Clock's ticking. But forget it. We got the superstars here. We got Scooby. We got Sad Boy, Big T. We got the TSF Takes guys here. They're taking over, and we're loving it. Rob Maraska, I'm giving you the floor because I'm loving having you on. Anything else you want to plug, share, say, fire away?
Hey, good show, guys. A lot of fun. I just want to do a quick plug for the guy who put me on the radio first back in, okay, guys, ready for this? 1981. My friend Jimmy Howes. He's now on Wall Radio, which is Orange County and Hudson Valley's hometown station. He's on weeknights from 7 p.m. to midnight, playing all the hits from the oldies. And he's a big Mets fan too. We were talking about the Mets.
Well, Jimmy, good. Jimmy, you might be the guy for the oldies, but I'm kind of the guy for the backyard wrestling. So certainly, Jimmy, we want to check you out. And what station is he on?
Wall Radio. It's all over the place. You could go to wallradio.com and check it out. And he's on weeknights from 7 to 12 till midnight.
Oh, good. 5 hours is a good show. And Hudson Valley is the middle of New York. For those that are outside of New York State, is the middle of the state, almost near the southern tier. So certainly a big shout out to those out there in Dutchess, Putnam, Orange. And
people can jump on his show, and then at 12 o'clock after he's done,
come to Sportswire. Yeah, come to Sportswire. Yeah, it's going to be. I would say come to Sportswire. And also, I want to give a programming update. So the regular sports guys are going to be on. We're going to be on at 11. Before that, I have the IMF guys. But the good news for you guys, you aren't getting preempted next week. So the good news is that the wrestling guys are getting preempted technically, but you guys aren't. So we're going to actually have something to talk about on next Friday's show. So that's a good plug. And anything else, Rob?
No, you just could check me out on Twitter/X at R Maraska, Facebook Rob Maraska, and looking forward to talking again next week, guys.
Awesome. Chris, I want to give you the floor. Obviously, I'm enjoying the Talking Rivals. That's been in the rotation through the next couple of days. We'll keep it in through there. Liftoff Jets on Sunday. Can't wait for that. And want to give you the floor. And anything else you want to plug, share, or say, and be my guest.
Thank you, Tom. Guys, great show. Scooby, nice meeting you. Hopefully, we'll be chatting more.
We are.
Rob, of course, what's up? Great show. Yeah, man. Monday, of course, the tampering period opens for the NFL. So, and then I think Wednesday or Thursday is free agency. So hopefully by Friday, we'll have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And we'll be covering it, obviously, on Liftoff, probably Wednesday or Thursday. And listen, Talking Rivals, baseball fans, we're almost there, right? We're almost there for opening day. A couple more weeks. We'll be there. A couple more
weeks.
When
I get into baseball, see, I always, with baseball, when it starts opening day, it's like, okay, I get into it. Now I'm like, I'm going
practice, through the motions. I watch it. I just keep my, I don't care about who wins or loses. I just worry about health. And then after like the second week, you start looking for, all right, all these guys hitting, all these guys pitching well, they start getting into the, so this is like from now until opening day, you start trying to look for things, right? You start to see how the pitchers are doing, how the hitters, are they looking more comfortable, because it's been 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. But we're almost there. A couple more weeks.
We'll
be
what
there
it is?
before we know it.
Sports in general. I don't get
Clocks
into
go up an hour too tomorrow night.
Yes, which is a good thing actually. Well, it's been a really warm winter. I mean, they said it was the warmest month on record. No, I'm not. I'll be honest.
Only one shovel day for snow. That's okay.
Yeah, two. I'd say two, but yeah.
Still nothing. Right. Yeah, two. Okay.
Two. Can't complain.
Yeah.
But if you want to follow Chris, CP7NY on all platforms, Threads, Instagram, Twitter. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer on and off the mic. And also, I want to, before I get to Scooby, want to say Happy Women's International Day. So I want to give a shout out. Chris had a great post on his Twitter, which I liked. He showed his beautiful wife and his daughter. And I'm not married, but I do want to say Happy Women's International Day. And for our internationals, because we actually do have international listeners. I get messages all the time from people.
You don't have to be married to appreciate a woman, and
I definitely
celebrate Happy Women's Day.
No, we have many women's listeners on Sportswire. Obviously, my mother.
Here's another thing we didn't. Caitlin Clark broke the most 3-point shots made tonight. She broke Steph Curry's record.
She had the points record last weekend, and now she had the 3-point record. And what she's done on all this assists, rebounds, points. I'll tell you what, I've interviewed a few women's hoopers before, and she's definitely right up there and exceeds them. So
we have to get her on Sportswire Radio and talking to Tom Bryce.
We are friends with Paige Palazzolo. She's promised me she'll get us some big names, but we actually have I can't say anything. We do have a couple of big names in the pikes in the next few weeks. We have some big names that I think you'll see in the world of sports. I can't say who they are yet, but I think there'll be some good things. But we're doing great. The subscribership is up on YouTube, Facebook. The numbers are up on the engagements. Twitter. 54 people are on Twitter right now, so a lot of people are really reaching the platform. We're on Twitch right now.
All we need is someone to date Taylor Swift. Like maybe if
Tom,
that's Tom
right
get
there.
out there, meet Tom.
I mean, my bank account is certainly in the running. I mean, my bank
account,
that's my bank account is in the running. I will say this. God has blessed me. I'm in the zeros. I mean, I could pull it off, but I think I think Travis has got me for now. I mean, I would prefer Selena Gomez, but that's a different conversation for a different time.
There you go. That might work. That might get a few people
that's
here.
Much more my type, but that's a different conversation for a different time because it is Women's International Day. Scooby, I saved you for last, kind of like the brute force used to be. So I'm giving you the floor. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say before we say sayonara for a really fun show tonight on Friday?
Well, before I plug anything, let me just say I enjoyed meeting you guys and talking Jets hockey with all of you. It was great.
It was fun.
New Yorkers, man, I can talk to you guys all day.
Well, Friday nights at 11. That's the deal.
All right, and like Mikey said earlier, Sad Boy, we're going to be on YouTube. I also have my own personal YouTube, Scooby Stoney, same ad on everything. Yep. So going to be a lot of videos and a lot of content consistently coming soon.
Tag me on all the platforms. Just
for sure.
Sportswire,
for sure.
Tag me. It's always my policy.
And hopefully my boys can come prove you guys wrong. The Jets, man. I love the devil's advocate approach that we used with the Jets. I feel like it's well deserved. I can't get in the playoffs, but like I said earlier, I love this era. Good days ahead, and optimism. Maybe not the same optimism as last year, like Chris was saying, but we're there. We're on the map. First step's done. We got the talent. We just got to put the pieces together.
It's going to be a big key. Obviously, look, Jet fans are starving for a season. My brother went to, I think, 4 or 5 Jet games this year. And, guys like him that went out. I mean, Chris and Sharman went to some games. Anthony Finkel, one of our buddies, a longtime friend of mine, is a diehard Jet fan. And, the fans.
Tell him to keep going. Don't give up, man. Tell him to keep going.
Anthony Finkel's bank account is probably I don't know if it's as big as mine, but he can afford to go. Although I would say that he's not going to be as big for much longer because he's getting married, so he might actually have to drop some zeros there for the wedding. But that's a different. I'm only kidding. We love Anthony Finkel. He's been one of our dearest friends for a long time. But no, those guys go to the games, and the point is that they're going to keep going. And I think you're right, and we'll have to see. And we can follow you on all platforms, Scooby Stoney. And this was a lot of fun. Friday nights are back in the house for regular sports, and that's certainly good news for all of us here that have always used the regular sports show for the 5+ years of all the platforms of Sportswire Radio as the anchor of our platforms. We're going to do that here with the TSF Takes guys here, Scooby Stoney, also Rob Maraska, longest tenured analyst in our Hall of Fame, and Chris Pizzea from the Liftoff Jets and the Talking Rivals. And the way Scooby's going, he'll probably get in one of these days in the Hall of Fame. So we certainly try to make dreams come true. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, where all wrestling matters here, Sportswire Radio, your home to everything sports and everything else in between. So if you're on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, join me later tonight for Jake Matthews of NEW, hardcore wrestler extraordinaire, Ace Reed right after that. And also the following day to be inducted into our Hall of Fame, some guys that looked like Shane and Sad Boy. But if you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming, probably some music that's kind of in the dial. And until then, we'll have podcasts from all over the world. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. Follow the TSF Takes guys on all platforms, and you'll see them Friday nights here at 11 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.